Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Breakfast with Roger and Friends on a beautiful Thursday morning, the 22nd, is that right? 22nd of January already? Oh, where does the time fly when you're having fun? Anyway, good morning to Dr. Gene Sidler. Good to see you, Gino.
Good morning, everyone. It's a great day. Bradley won last night.
Yes, we're going to hear about that. But first we'll say good morning to Mike Dentino.
Good morning, Roger.
Good to see you. A nice drive-in from Marshall County.
It's a chilly drive-in from Marshall County.
I disagree with you. I think it's cold.
It might be. It might be. I think that.
What's the difference between chilly and cold?
Well, I mean, I'm about 12 miles from Chile.
Yes, yeah. Well, okay, very good. Ladies and gentlemen, we are off and running now with some witty.
I wasn't that impressed with it.
No, you weren't. Okay.
Well, I like to refer to myself as the nit of wit.
Okay.
There it is.
Well, our judges weren't impressed either, so I guess it's unfortunate. Well, Bradley did have a nice win last night. Actually, they trailed at halftime, did they
Trailed
not?
almost the entire game.
You're kidding.
They finally went on a little bit of a run, starting with about 6 minutes left in the game, took the lead with about 3 or 4 minutes
You're kidding.
in the
That
game,
close?
and then finally hung on to win it. Yeah, they struggled I'll talk about it a little bit more later, but they struggled all game to get any consistency going. They'd get within 3 points or 4 points, and then they'd fall back 6, 7, 8 points, and then they'd come back. It was the margin was never more than 8 points, but they never got closer than 3 until the final minutes.
That is interesting. Was your dad a Bradley fan? I thought that he went to a few games.
Yeah,
did he
I
not?
mean, he actually enjoyed going to sporting events on a regular basis. I think he liked, the teams he actually liked the most, though. Back in the day, we'd go to see the Peoria Pacer games.
Oh, wow. That is going back.
Yeah, it's going back a little bit. But, yeah, I think he enjoyed seeing Bradley basketball. I mean, we lived right there on the West Bluff.
Yeah, you could walk to the field house.
Well, I mean, if I remember the parking situations
Well,
back
that's
then,
another story.
You're better off walking there.
A lot of people. I remember I got to do some of the PA announcing. Bob Loy who was my hero when it comes to PA announcers. Now the PA announcers are part of the entertainment. Everything is dramatic histrionics and phononics and so forth. Bob Loy had a deep, rich, resonant voice. He was a Mass Mutual insurance agent, and he also did sports on WAAP. That goes back a long time. But a few times he couldn't make it. He asked me as a student to do it, and I was thrilled. And every now and then I had to make an announcement. Will the owner of a car with a license plate ATU 685 please move it? You're blocking the homeowners from getting into their garage. Thank you very much. That was a big issue back then.
Do you remember that he wrote
Yes.
a book titled his favorite greeting to the fans?
Exactly.
Good evening, Bradley basketball fans.
I used to have that book here.
I
guess
got
took
a
it
couple
over.
copies of it at home.
Yeah.
Once in a while you see it at a garage sale for 50 cents, so I've bought a couple of them now, and it's just interesting to read about the old stories with Bradley in the 1950s mostly, and early 60s.
You were a student when it was still at the field house?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. They didn't move to the field house in 1982, which was actually 4 years after I came back from my medical training. And so, yeah, my whole college career was at the field house with Bradley.
The Civic Center is beautiful and stately and et cetera, but it will never obtain or sustain, if they do obtain it, the ambience of the Bradley Robertson Memorial Fieldhouse. There
No,
was
and-
a
and-
character, and they call it, some coaches called it the snake pit.
The pit, and some called it the snake pit. And yes, teams,
didn't like
teams were
playing there.
intimidated a bit by playing there, of course, because you worked there. It had a raised floor about 3.5 feet. I guess it was maybe right about 3 feet elevated. Yeah, off of the concrete base, and nobody wanted to go diving for an a ball headed out of bounds because you're going to take a dip down into
Off the
cold
floor.
concrete. Yeah. So yeah, there was a little bit of an intimidation factor there. And
But
it was,
the closeness of the fans to
stands
the
were
floor.
close. The stands were never well lit, so it was like it was dark up into the
Yeah.
abyss on either side of the stadium. The court itself was very well lit, but yeah, it was a intimidating environment, I think, for visiting teams. And Bradley, their record, I think, through the years was 400 wins and 100 losses, and even
Wow.
500 games. So they
That's called a hometown
80% home winning
advantage.
percentage. Yes.
And the thing that was unique about it, all the seats except on one side that had theater seats, and that was for the high rollers of the
And those
community.
didn't go all the way back. They only
No,
went back
that's
about
correct.
25 or 30 rows,
Yeah.
and then it was bench seats.
Then it
after
was
that.
benches. And one of the things you learned if you had a season ticket is when you stood for the national anthem and you had some chubby people in your row, you sat down first, even before the song was over, because if you didn't, you wind up, if you're on the end, sitting on the floor.
Tell you a story
Yeah.
if we have time here. The very last game played in the field house was the 1982 NIT game. Bradley went on to
That
win
went
the
to
NIT
New
that
York,
year,
yeah.
but then the following year they moved to the downtown arena. That NIT game against Tulane, my wife and I had good tickets down pretty low, but on the bench side.
On the benches, yeah.
And I had a guy next to me that was well over 300 pounds, probably 350. I spent the whole game
Sideways.
sitting this way.
You're kidding. Oh,
Because
my
between
Lord,
trying to
James.
give my wife room and the guy behind me taking up most of mine, I could not sit straight.
Yeah.
And then I left the building drenched in sweat.
His sweat,
It was
not
his,
yours.
It was his sweat mostly.
Yeah.
A little bit of mine.
What do they do in airlines when you have a guy, Tiny Tim, that weighs 380, 480 in a sunsuit?
I know.
Do they make them buy two seats?
Some of them are.
Well, they have that option, but
One for each
usually,
cheek.
usually they'll buy one, and then you just got to hope you don't have that one next to them because
Yeah.
they're gonna bulge over, no question about it.
That's a good
Yeah.
term for bulge over.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like I said, it's like they should be paying.
I've been lucky;
Or-
it's never happened to me that I've had an XL person next to me. I've had some large people, but never that large. But yeah, that would be uncomfortable.
Yeah. Well,
And I feel sorry for those.
I was
folks.
just going to
Yeah,
say that. I don't want
I-
to be too unkind to people who have a weight problem and, as they usually say, due to gland problem. Most of them suffer from an overactive fork. But there was something about the field house that gave Bradley a distinct advantage because it was in like an old airplane hangar.
Yeah.
And
two
the
of them
sound
fused
was
together
so,
to-
yes,
Yeah, to
right.
make the full size. Yeah.
I had someone ask me, where do they park the blimp? And I said, row 14 next to Dr. Gene Sidler.
Oh, yes.
But boy, I tell you what, it was good times. And what was the game that went into 6 overtimes? It set a
Seven.
record.
Yeah,
Seven.
that was in 1981. It was
Yeah.
December of 1981 against the University of Cincinnati. And
Was Oscar Robertson with him?
oh no, he had retired or moved on to the NBA by that time. Interestingly, one of the players on Cincinnati was Big Mike Williams, who transferred to Bradley after that season and played with Jim Les on that 1986
Was he from
championship
Manual?
team. No, he was
No,
from Chicago.
That's Mike Davis.
And
I'm
it was Mike
thinking of,
Davis
yeah.
was from Manual, yeah.
Yeah.
And Mike Davis was a terrific player. He played back in the late 70s with Rick Malnati and Tom Les, the older brother of Jim Les. That team, those were some of Joe Stoll's best teams, were those late 70s teams.
You know, and that included, did it not, or maybe it was later, another Manual grad, Bobby Humbles.
Oh, yeah.
That was an outstanding guard, great
Hall
shooter.
of Famer, yeah, at Bradley, yeah.
A lot of great memories. Anyway, Bradley won last night. Go Bradley Braves. We'll get the details from Gene coming up. In the meantime, let's bring you more news more often right here on WAZU. And we'll start with the weather this morning, presented by Advanced Medical Transport, the premier provider of emergency and scheduled ambulance services in central, western, and eastern Illinois, and they're still growing. There are more than 500 AMT employees, men and women, dedicated to offering and providing the best in health care. Saving lives is what they do. Well, this weather is something to talk about. Extreme cold weather warning starting 3 a.m. tomorrow morning until tomorrow at noon. For good reason, we have some cold temperatures. Otherwise today, increasing cloudiness and windy. A high of 33. We'll take it and enjoy it. Cloudy and dangerously cold overnight with a low 6 below. Wind chill values that could reach 21 below with winds gusting to 26 miles per hour. I don't mind telling you, I opened the patio door last night to let my dog out, and that cold wind, and you live off on the river.
Yeah.
That wind just blew into me, blew the door further open, and I wound up opening the front door. It is something with the strong winds. Tomorrow, sunny, windy, very cold. A high of only 3 degrees. That's tomorrow, with wind chill values to 24 below. Tomorrow night, cloudy and 3 below. Saturday, cloudy and cold. A 40% chance for snow and a high of 10. Snow likely Saturday night, a low of 5. Sunday, snow possible and a high of 15. Monday, sunny and another 15. And a little reminder, for the most up-to-date and live reports on weather, we're going to talk this morning with our meteorologist, Kyle Varnold, at 6:50 and again at 8:20 with weather updates. And right now, our temperature at 17 degrees. Now our news brought to you by Sam Lilly and Associates, providing a comprehensive range of insurance products, including personal auto, home, life, and medical coverage. And I can tell you Sam specializes in Medicare plans and options, something he's been doing during his 40 years in the business. Sam knows insurance. You can learn more from Sam Lilly at 309-245-4374. Now our lead story, Mike Dentino, what do you have?
Well, Roger, President Donald Trump was ridiculed and criticized by some European leaders and a number of lawmakers in this country for proposing to make Greenland a part of the United States. Appearing like a political Houdini, Donald Trump did it again, though, announcing that what he says is an agreement of a future deal with NATO involving Greenland and the Arctic region. Trump said that if the framework he brokered is finalized, it'll be great for Greenland, NATO countries, and the United States.
The president is in Davos, Switzerland for the World Economic Forum. He had warned European leaders he would be imposing strong tariffs starting February 1st if no agreement could be reached. Well, as Mike reported, the president has reached an agreement, at least a framework for it. And he says Russia and China are seeking military bases in Greenland, and that's the world's largest island. Did you know that? I did not know that.
Yes.
Governing, have any idea how many miles?
840,000.
836,000. Very,
Yeah.
very good. What's the population, Smarty Pants?
57,000.
Did you read my copy?
No, I just know I'm not exact there, I'm sure.
No, 57,000.
It is,
One account said 56,000. And
There's a few walruses there, too.
yeah, and they all are really along the coastline.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
There's nothing
In the hinterland.
Well, there are a few indigenous folks, I think, somewhere scattered around and most of them are in the southern tip because
Where
it's
it's
just too
warmer.
cold
Yeah.
anywhere farther north of that.
You can tell they have a distinct Southern accent.
Yeah, the Nukians.
Yeah. What do
That's the
they speak?
capital of
What do they speak? In Greenland.
Well, they speak Danish. They're,
Yeah.
That's
they're
right,
Mostly, they're
So it would be Danish.
sort of a colony of Denmark. So yeah, I think the official language is Danish, but there are some indigenous languages spoken, obviously. Too.
Yeah. And as part of the story, the president is announcing the big peace board with, did you count them, 35, did you say?
There are 35
members?
that have voiced interest in joining, and invitations were sent out to a total of 50 countries. So yeah, it'll be a.
And he introduced some of the people who have agreed this morning. I saw it on cable news. So the guy, say what you want about him, he seems to get things done and things that are good.
Well, I mean that's Trump's most common negotiating tactic is to say something completely outlandish that makes everyone lose their mind, their hair catches on fire,
Yeah,
and then he kind of goes, "Oh, never mind."
Yeah, well, they did mine this time, and they lined up. And, I watched him as he introduced and then later shook hands with those who are on board. And they all had big grins on their faces.
yeah.
There's nobody with a frown saying, oh, gee, I didn't want to join and give him $1 billion to be a member for 3 years.
Yeah, well, the Swiss are just happy not to be hit with a 39% tax or
On
tariff on their chocolate.
On
and
their
watches.
chocolates, yeah.
Well, it's the watches
Yeah.
that kill them.
Yeah, well, the watch I don't care about, but the chocolate, that's insane. You can't do that to chocolate. It's against the Supreme Court. Well, what's going on in this country?
Well, in this country, another federal officer has been injured by a driver with a criminal record. It happened in Los Angeles where an illegal immigrant hit the officer with his vehicle and then drove off. William Caballo of El Salvador was captured after a chase. He was wanted for human smuggling and for allegedly beating up his partner, not once, but twice.
Wasn't that what Abrego was accused of too? Beat up his
Yeah.
wife a couple of times, and Chris Van Hollen, the Democrat, defended the guy. Oh, he's a nice guy, and we're treating
he
him
went
too
down to
bad.
San
And he
Salvador
knocks his
and had
wife around.
margaritas with the
Yeah,
guy.
Yeah.
Well, everyone needs friends.
A federal court of appeals has given the Trump administration a win as it reversed a lower court ruling that placed restrictions on how ICE agents can arrest the bad guys. Restrictions were imposed by U.S. District Judge Catherine Menendez, a Democrat, appointed by, guess who, President Biden in 2021.
And a jury in Uvalde, Texas, has found a police officer not guilty of 29 counts of child abandonment after 7 hours of deliberation. The decision frees school officer Adrian Gonzalez of any responsibility for the alleged failing to confront the gunman who shot and killed 19 students and 2 adults at the Robb Elementary School in 2022.
In Iran, the government has brought in foreign militias to take control of cities where citizens have been rioting. Residents say the militias are from Hezbollah and Iraq and use, are you ready for this, Toyotas equipped with automatic weapons to terrorize neighborhoods with random firings into houses and buildings in the dark of the night. Have you seen the video of that?
Yeah.
That's the new military vehicle is Toyota. They buy them from that dealer in Pekin and seem to be making some pretty good deals. There's an estimate some 5,000 military foreigners are working on behalf of the government of Iran. That's how powerful that country is.
Indeed. In local news, Peoria County Coroner Jamie Harwood identified the fatal victim from a fire in Chillicothe Tuesday as 62-year-old Michael Broderick. Broderick was pulled from a house fire in the 1600 block of North Old Galena Road and rushed to a local hospital for treatment of smoke inhalation. However, efforts to revive Broderick were unsuccessful, said Harwood. Other residents of the house were able to safely escape from the burning structure.
Peoria Heights police are asking for help in locating 50-year-old Ariel Fuller. The man walked out of a nursing home on Gardner Lane January 3rd and hasn't been seen since then. He's described as 6'3", weigh about 195 pounds, wearing a gray stocking cap, gray hoodie, red jacket, and blue sweatpants. Call police at 309-686-3461 if you've seen Fuller. And we hope in this weather he is found and returned. At any rate, that's a look at some of the stories we're following. Now, here's WCBU.
From the WCBU Newsroom, I'm Courtney Conroy. Washington residents concerned about the possible installation of a digital billboard at a busy intersection can rest easy. The City Council this week did not vote on a variance request from Robinson Outdoor, effectively killing the Missouri-based company's billboard plan. City Attorney Mark Walton explains why a council vote wasn't needed.
We put it on the agenda just to have a formal record that we're not going to be taking action to approve the ordinance. So it's really more a matter of housekeeping than anything else.
The billboard would have been installed at the Eagle Avenue and Peoria Street intersection. U.S. Senator Dick Durbin says a legitimate investigation into the fatal shooting of Renee Good earlier this month is unlikely. Durbin says the federal government's efforts to block state and local law enforcement from fully investigating the shooting is, quote, proof this is not a credible investigation.
An investigation into the death of an innocent person is not complete or credible unless we reach out and gather every single resource to understand what happened and understand the truth.
Durbin appeared in central Illinois this week as part of Route 66 Centennial kickoff. Peoria Heights leaders have reached a compromise with developers of the former Save-A-Lot property that will add public parking to the project. Mayor Matt Wigginton says the developer's willingness to cooperate led to the compromise.
I appreciate the developer being willing to essentially donate 15 spots to the village of Peoria Heights for public parking.
The agreement will include a row of angled public parking spaces along the Prospect Road location and one lane of parking for residents. And the American Red Cross is issuing a call for donations amid a severe blood shortage, with hospital requests exceeding the available supply. The higher demand has resulted in a 35% drawdown of blood products over the past month. The need is particularly high for platelets, as well as blood types O, A negative, and B negative. Interested donors are encouraged to visit Peoria's Red Cross Donation Center on John Gwynn Jr. Avenue or attend one of Greater Peoria's blood drives scheduled through the end of the month. I'm Courtney Conroy, WCBU News.
Well, we were talking earlier, ladies and gentlemen, about the big Bradley win last night, and wasn't easy. With all the details on that game and other sport stories, here's Dr. Gene Sidler, brought to you by BradleyFans.com. Gino, you're on the air.
Thank you, Roger. Sports for Thursday, January 22nd. Last night, Bradley won. They beat a stubborn Indiana State Sycamores basketball team, 75-68. Bradley improves to 14-7 overall, 7-3 in the Missouri Valley. Bradley shot very poorly nearly the entire game, trailed for the first 38 minutes of the game. Indiana State had their biggest lead of 8 points with just 5 minutes to go in the game. When Bradley finally put on a little run and got rolling, they outscored Indiana State 15-0 over the final 5 minutes. They scored the last 15 points of the game to move from an 8-point deficit to a 7-point win. Final score, Bradley 75, Indiana State 68. Attendance was 53-27. Not bad for a cold Wednesday, especially an early start time. It was a 6 o'clock start time for TV. Bradley's next game is a home game Saturday night at 7 o'clock against the University of Illinois Chicago, and that'll be on ESPN+. It'll be their first meeting with the UIC Flames this year, and should be a good game. UIC lost their first 4 conference games and now has won their last 5. So they're on a roll, including wins over the top teams in the league, Illinois State, Northern Iowa, Drake. In other Missouri Valley games last night, Murray State had their 12-game winning streak broken, and they lost their first conference game of the season at Drake, 101-90. Illinois State won. They beat Northern Iowa 59-54, and Valparaiso beat Southern Illinois 69-63. The Bradley women are 11-7, 4-3 in the conference. They play tomorrow night at home against Valparaiso, 6 p.m. on ESPN Plus and live at the Renaissance Coliseum. And number 11, Illinois won last night. They beat Maryland 89-70. That improves their record to 16-3, 7-1 in the Big Ten. They stay in a four-way tie for second place in the Big Ten, one game behind the league-leading Nebraska Cornhuskers. Illinois plays number 4 Purdue on Saturday, a 2 p.m. game on Fox. And in the NFL, the AFC and NFC conference final games are this coming Sunday. In the AFC, it's the New England Patriots at the Denver Broncos, 2 p.m. on Fox. New England, a 5.5-point favorite. That's mostly because their Denver starting quarterback, Bo Nix, is out with a fracture in his ankle. Jared Stidham, the backup quarterback, will play. In the NFC, it'll be the L.A. Rams at the Seattle Seahawks, 5:30 Sunday on Fox. Seattle, a 2.5-point favorite over the Rams. And then a baseball note or two, the former Cub free agent, Cody Bellinger, who actually played with the Yankees last year. He signed with the Yankees again for 5 years, $162 million.
Oh, my gosh.
Not bad if he can get it. And two new members, elected to the 2026 class of the Baseball Hall of Fame by the Baseball Writers of America, Carlos Beltran and Andrew Jones. They joined Jeff Kent, who was elected by the Contemporary Baseball Era Committee in December. Now, that used to be called the Veterans Committee. But those three will go in this coming summer into the Hall of Fame in Cooperstown. Andrew Jones from Curacao, one of the few players in the Major League ever to play who was from Curacao. He was a 5-time All-Star, 10-time Gold Glove center fielder, played most of his career with the Atlanta Braves. And Carlos Beltran, he was a Puerto Rican, played 19 seasons for 8 different teams, former Rookie of the Year and a 9-time All-Star, and a World Series winner with the Houston Astros. Sadly, guys like Manny Ramirez, Alex Rodriguez, Roger Clemens, Barry Bonds, Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire, and other players that have been associated with the performance-enhancing substances did not see an improvement in their vote percentage and were left out again, and probably and many of those guys actually declined in their percentages of the writers voting for them. So it's looking like time is not as good for their memory as some had thought, and they are not likely to be elected into the Hall of Fame.
What's the criteria for getting in, and who does the voting?
Well, it's a collection of Baseball Writers of America. I think it's somewhere around 150 of them or something like that, and you have to get 75% of the voting members voting for you. And the two guys that got in had something like 82 and 77%, and everybody else fell below 75% cutoff, so they did not get in. Players will sometimes improve their percentages over the first 5 or 7 years that they're on the ballot, just because maybe a year will come along where there's not several real obvious choices, so they end up maybe getting a few more votes, whatever the reason. But then the vote percentages always start to go down as time persists. A lot of people thought that because the steroid era is, getting farther and farther into our past, and people are maybe starting to realize that these guys put up Hall of Fame numbers and otherwise would have deserved to be. And maybe they thought that they would start to get better percentages, but that's just not happening with the guys like Barry Bonds, Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire, big home run champions all. But not the writers just are not favorable to that steroid stigma.
Do either one of you have a guy that you'd like to see get into the Baseball Hall of Fame but hasn't yet?
Well, I'd like to Pete Rose.
My favorite is Pete
That's
Rose.
the first one that comes to mind for me.
Pete Rose
Yeah.
has just been beaten up and trashed and kicked left and right by these so-called judges. Judge not, ye shall not be judged, I think Scripture says.
Well-
And boy, has he been abused, and it's a shame they
Yeah.
didn't do it. while he was still
The other
alive.
guy I would like to see would be Kurt Schilling. He has Hall of Fame numbers as a pitcher, but you know what? He's become a very outspoken, conservative podcaster.
That did it. That would kill him.
That did it, yeah. I mean, now suddenly political reasons are reasons that these writers use.
Well,
they just don't like your politics. They're not going to vote for
Yeah.
you, even though you're a Hall of Famer.
That's just BS because, I don't know of any of these guys that are out there campaigning out on the diamond or the field or the pitch. That should be something that, and hey, there
And
are
nobody knew his politics until
then,
after he
right,
retired.
right,
Which is
frankly
bizarre.
is the way it ought to be. I mean, actors and athletes have one thing in common: they should do what they do best and leave the actual thinking to people who want to sit there and have those arguments. If you want to try it after you've hung up your cleats or
Ooh, I like
put away
that.
your
Ooh,
basketball.
that's good sports talk. Hang
Yeah.
up your cleats.
That's right. I mean, does anyone even wear cleats anymore?
You know what they used to wear? They don't wear anymore. Were spikes.
Yeah, the
they were called
Yeah.
spikes, and
Yeah.
guys like Ty Cobb would sharpen his
yeah.
spikes and slide in with the spikes in the
up.
air.
Yeah,
you're
he was
right.
infamous for that. I mean,
He was
and
what?
He was infamous for
Oh,
that,
okay. I thought it
and
was
not
right.
terribly well liked either.
No, he was. What was his nickname?
God, the Splendid Splinter? No, that was Ted Williams.
That's Ted Williams.
Yeah.
The Georgia Peach.
Oh,
That's it.
yeah, there you go.
Yeah, the
metal
Splendid
spikes are
Splinter.
still used in baseball. They are.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they have been. I think they've been eliminated in football in favor of
Well, I hope so.
hard plastic spiked shoes. But yeah, in baseball, I think they are still used.
You know what the common sound is in football with the cleats? Ouch.
Yeah. Oh, I know that. I had,
Okay, all right. Did your dad, one of the complaints I've had in the Fencing Hall of Fame is your dad should have been there, at least at Notre Dame, because he fenced, if you pardon the expression.
Yes.
Fence, by the way, as you know, in the courts have a different meaning than your dad's.
Yes, my dad was out there fencing stuff all the time.
Yeah, exactly right. But it was with this, what they call the instrument, the saber?
Well,
is that a saber?
There's three.
Foil?
There's the foil, the ipe, and the saber.
What's the EP?
And well, an ipe is like a foil, only it's a little thicker and slightly shorter.
And what's a foil?
A foil is thin, very flexible blade, and then a saber, it's like you see in the pirate movies. And each of the weapons scores slightly differently. I mean, like a ipe and a foil, you can only score with the tip. I mean, you have to actually press the tip.
To any part of the body, or is it the heart area?
Well, I'm trying to think. I think it's only in the chest area where you
Okay.
can score, if I remember
I think
correctly.
isn't it electronic?
I was
Yeah,
just
now
going to
it's
ask that
electronic.
question. Now, if you do hit in a sensitive area of your opponent, then
Ow.
isn't there a sound?
Well, yeah, actually, before they had electronic scoring, the judges would look for the weapon to bend or deflect, and that's
On
how
the opponent.
That's how they saw. Okay, that scores a point.
And it's so quick that I'm sure they would miss
Yeah,
occasionally.
I'm sure they missed a lot, but
Points.
they now have a little pressure-sensitive switch on the end that when so just the barest of touches
You
will
get
score
you
now.
score.
Sounds like you did a little bit of fencing,
Yeah.
did you?
I took it. Well, I actually took a fencing course at Illinois State, and fencing was kind of the fallback sport for injured wrestlers. Once a wrestler like tears a ligament in his shoulder or injures
Yeah, he can't slam
his
down.
arms. Yeah, it's a lot of wrestlers, because they have very highly developed twitch muscles, they would kind of naturally gravitate towards fencing. Because I don't know of any high schools, at least in this area, that have high school fencing teams.
Well, they have everything else. They've got fishing teams now.
I've got a bone to pick about that. I had to skip school to go fishing. And now they're
Now you
actually,
get credit.
That's right.
No, I don't think you get credit for it, do you?
Well, you
It's,
know,
it's an ISHA sport.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I
that
guess
that's
you
cool.
can letter in fishing.
You can
you
probably-
get a big F.
Yeah, well, it gets a little slimy with the
Yeah,
fish pinned to
yeah.
your
They do
to your
go.
Letterman
They have a
jacket.
state tournament. I don't know if it's ever been held in the Peoria area, but I know they've held it downstate, like in Shelbyville,
Yeah.
like Shelbyville, and some of those large reservoirs downstate.
You know, where was it when I was growing up? Because
Yeah.
I wasn't good at anything, but I could fish.
One of my nephews was on the fishing team at Notre Dame. When I found out Notre Dame had a fishing team and he was on, I was like, "What? Wait, huh? What?" I'm still like traumatized by that.
Well, I'm right behind you. You know, they have chess teams.
Well,
And
yeah, I mean, come on.
How about
Geeks
shuffleboard?
have to
They're
have
not into
something.
shuffle- Yeah. Okay, I'm going to let you stand alone on that one. Let's bring you up to date with our news headlines.
Here's a picture
Yeah.
of the state champion last year in fishing at
And-
Shelbyville
yeah.
Reservoir. They did pretty well.
You lost it.
Oh, no.
I
Shoot,
think the team was from Northbrook. Did I see that on their jerseys? They've got the usual fishing gear with the wide
yeah.
brim hat. Does it say
Yeah,
Northbrook?
I think it was
on
Northbrook, North Star. But
Yeah.
yeah, look at the size of those bass that they caught.
Damn.
That is, wow, holy cow. I wonder what they do with the bass afterward. Give it to the fish house here in Peoria? Or somewhere
Well,
for that matter?
they have to weigh them, and I think they return them to the lake if they're viable, and they try to. In fact, I think now the rules even require that they have to be viable to be weighed and be counted. So they have these fish little tanks that preserve them quite effectively on the boats.
I wonder if after they weigh them and get credit, do they throw them back in the water, or do they?
Yeah, I
Okay.
believe they do.
Well, good.
I can double check
To
on that.
get hooked on another sunny day, for that matter. Well, let's get into the news, and it's brought to you by Spoon River, the folks making a difference in the lives of their clients since 1993. And they have a comprehensive range of home health services, from skilled nursing to bathing and personal care. Your choice matters at Spoon River Home Health, and here's your phone number, 309-245-0723. Now with the news, Mike Dentino.
Okay, thanks, Roger. President Donald Trump was criticized by some European leaders and a number of lawmakers in this country for proposing to make Greenland part of the United States. Despite the naysayers, though, Donald Trump did it again, announcing what he says is an agreement of a future deal with NATO involving Greenland and the Arctic region. Trump said if the framework he brokered is finalized, it'll be great for Greenland, NATO countries, and the United States. Trump had warned European leaders that he would be imposing strong tariffs starting in February 1st if no agreement could be reached. The president says Russia and China are seeking military bases in Greenland, which is the world's largest island, covering 836,000 miles with a population of around 57,000 people. In this country, another federal officer has been injured by a driver with a criminal record. It happened in Los Angeles, where an illegal immigrant hit the officer with his vehicle and then drove off. William Carballo of El Salvador was captured after a chase. He was wanted for human smuggling and for allegedly beating up his partner not once, but twice. A federal court of appeals has given the Trump administration a win as it reversed a lower court ruling that placed restrictions on how ICE agents can arrest bad guys. Restrictions were imposed by the U.S. District Judge Catherine Menendez, there we go, a Democrat appointed by President Biden in 2021. A jury in Uvalde, Texas has found a police officer not guilty of 29 counts of child abandonment after 7 hours of deliberation. The decision frees school officer Adrian Gonzalez of any responsibility for allegedly failing to confront the gunman who shot and killed 19 students and 2 adults at the Robb Elementary School in 2022. In local news, Peoria County Coroner Jamie Harwood identified the fatal victim from a fire in Chillicothe yesterday as 62-year-old Michael Broadbeck. Broadbeck was pulled from a house fire in the 1600 block of North Old Galena Road and rushed to a local hospital for treatment of smoke inhalation. Efforts to revive Broadbeck were unsuccessful, said Harwood. Other residents of the house were able to safely escape from the burning structure. Peoria Heights police are asking for your help in locating 50-year-old Ario Fuller. The man walked out of a nursing home on Gardner Lane on January 3rd and hasn't been seen since then. He's described as 6'3", weighing around 195 pounds. He's wearing, or was wearing, a gray stocking cap, gray hoodie, a red jacket, and blue sweatpants. Call police at 309-868-3461 if you've seen Fuller. In sports, Bradley defeated Indiana State at the Civic Center last night, 75-68, and Illinois whipped Maryland in Champaign, 89-70. Details on those games and more sports news with Dr. Gene Sidler coming up at the top of the hour. And Roger, that's it for news at the bottom of the hour.
Thank you, Mike. Our weather now brought to you by Kyle Barnold, providing personal and business insurance for all the life, home, and health. He works with multiple carriers to find tailored policies for individuals, families, and businesses, at the same time building long-term relationships and personalized service. Kyle Arnold, available today at 309-682-0519. We have an extreme cold weather warning issued by the National Weather Bureau starting at 3 tomorrow morning until noon tomorrow afternoon. Otherwise today, increasing cloudiness and windy, a high of 33, cloudy and dangerously cold overnight with a low 6 below, wind chill values that could reach 21 below. Winds gusting to 26 miles per hour make things even more miserable. Tomorrow, sunny, windy, and very cold, a high of 3 degrees, wind chill values up to 24 below tomorrow. Tomorrow night, cloudy and 3 below. Going into the weekend, Saturday, it'll be cloudy and cold, a 40% chance for snow, and a high of 10. Snow likely Saturday night. No accumulation predicted by the forecaster. We'll talk to Kyle Varner coming up a little bit later. The low Saturday night 5. Sunday snow possible and a high of 15. Monday sunny and another 15. And as we say, Kyle will chat with us around 10 till 7 this morning with more details. So stay tuned, and that report will be live via the telephone. Currently, our temperature at 17 degrees. And there you have it. News and weather at the bottom of the hour on Breakfast with Roger and Friends. And that includes Mike Dentino and Dr. Gene Sidler. You know, Gene, when the game is over, does your chat room come alive with comments about the game, and maybe I wish the coach would have put in so-and-so, or great win, nice going Bradley, or I don't like your report on Breakfast with Roger and Friends?
Well, all but that last one.
Oh, okay.
I don't think anybody knows I'm on
Okay.
Breakfast with Roger.
Nobody knows the trouble I've
most
seen.
people sign up under names that keep them anonymous.
Yeah.
Maybe only 1 or 2 people that actually use their real name on the message board, and I encourage people not to do that, just because if somebody doesn't agree with you, there's some wackos out there. Anyway.
No, you're kidding. I'm shocked and dismayed.
Mostly it's after wins that people come alive with getting involved in talking about it and commenting. After losses, everybody's a little more subdued, and you don't get as many comments other than, man, those refs never.
Yeah, it suck.
But last night a lot of people happy to see them come alive in that last 5 or 6 minutes of the game and play incredibly well. And yet it was almost like you were watching a different set of players in those last 5 or 6 minutes, because they did things that they hadn't done in the first 35 minutes of the game. They were really not aggressive. They were taking a lot of these fall away shots. You know what I mean by that? Where
Yeah,
you,
the drive toward
yeah,
the
where
player
you
and then
drive
back.
toward
Yeah.
but you stop
Yeah.
short of any contact and you jump back and shoot. Those shots have a little lower percentage of going in, and in fact, you know, a lot of them didn't, and that's what kept Bradley behind for nearly the entire game. And yet in the Missouri Valley, it's almost always the case that when you make contact driving toward the basket, the officials are going to call the foul on the defensive player. It's not always justified, because you know, the defensive player should have the right to establish position and maybe draw a charging foul, but the Missouri Valley refs, they seem to pretty much always call it on the defense, and Bradley just doesn't take advantage of that like other teams do. Indiana State was getting to the basket quite a lot.
And getting fouled quite a lot.
Getting fouled and getting our players in foul trouble, which takes them out of the game for part of the game or makes them more tentative on defense, and that worked to their advantage quite a bit. They got a ton of layups in the first half and in part of the second half. Bradley, on the other hand, got some layups, but their shooting percentage on layups, you know, you should make 70-80% of your layup attempts, and yet Bradley's shooting percentage on those layups was around 30%.
That bad?
They were
Wow,
missing
that's
everything
terrible.
inside, because they just weren't aggressive. They just weren't going strong to the basket. They weren't jumping and trying to dunk the ball and do the things that guys who are 6'8" and 6'10" should be able to do. I don't know if the coaches can coax them to be more aggressive.
Sure he can.
Or if it just takes being behind with 5 minutes to go to get them to change.
Get jacked up and go out and
but
get
yeah,
'em.
it was like a different set of players. The same guys on the floor, but they just looked differently. They were much more aggressive. Like I say, they scored 15 points in the last maybe 5 minutes of the game, and meanwhile holding Indiana State to 0 points in that same
That's amazing.
time. So if they could have played that way for much of the game, it would have been a laugher. But yeah, it was nice to see that at the end. They're not going to win those games consistently if they go into the final minutes behind by 8 points. You got to play that way all game, and for some reason they just didn't last night. And let's hope they change that.
What's their next game?
Their next game is another home game on Saturday night. It's one of the few Saturday night games. You know, the Rivermen are playing both Friday and Sunday, but not Saturday. So Bradley's got Saturday night, and that's always the night they'll draw the biggest crowds, and people make a night of it and go out to eat.
Who are they playing?
They're playing UIC, University of Illinois Chicago.
Hey, that's a good basketball
And yeah,
team.
I
Particularly on their court.
they were picked in the middle of the pack in the preseason poll, but they've won 5 straight now and upset some teams like Illinois State and Northern Iowa and Drake, teams that were picked well ahead of them in the poll. So they're playing very well. They've got a relatively new coach. He was first-year coach last year. This is his second year, Rob Esan. He's a really good, smart coach. They don't have extremely talented kids. I don't know that they have anybody on that team that's going to be all conference, but they just play very hard and very well together.
Now, I have a question for both of you. Both of you have attended Bradley basketball games. When they come out and cheer, do you cheer with them, Mike?
Well, I'm sorry.
I said, do you cheer with the Bradley cheerleaders when you go to a game?
Yeah.
You do. How about you? Do you?
I don't partake in the cheers led by the cheerleader, but I do get quite vocal during the game.
Yes, I've heard that from people
Oh.
sitting near you.
Yeah, people in front of me,
Yeah.
especially.
I used to I didn't get into that sort of thing. I was above that, but my favorite cheer for Bradley has been historically, and do they still do it? Give me a B.
I have
Give
not
me an
heard
R.
that for a long
I
time.
know.
Yeah.
They just, those cheerleaders are more interested in qualifying for the Olympics and acrobats.
Now they come out and they throw T-shirts. They've got this T-shirt gun,
Yeah,
dressed up to
yeah.
Super Bowl, and
Yeah.
they do these timeout promotional things where you shoot free throws and you bring somebody out of the crowd and give them some pizzas or something. It's more corporate marketing now.
Yeah.
There was
wait a
one
minute.
instance in the game that was somewhat of a turning point. This year they have a new rule, something called the Coach's Challenge. Coaches, automatically an out-of-bounds call is reviewed in the last 2 minutes of the game by the refs if it's requested, and sometimes they don't even need to be requested. They do it on their own if they aren't sure. But this year, coaches have the option one time in a game to request a video review, and it can be an out-of-bounds play, or it can be a basket interference play, or the third thing is the charge blocking foul distinction under the basket.
Oh, really?
Inside that arc. It can sometimes be challenged, appealed. Well, I've been yelling at Coach Wardle all year at home games to use his challenge on plays that I thought were called wrong, out-of-bounds calls. You know, they're going to miss one or two a game on the out-of-bounds calls because they're so close and the speed is so fast in the game. But if you're wrong, you lose one of your timeouts, and you have to have at least one timeout to make that challenge because you have to be vulnerable to losing it. But so Coach Wardle has chosen not to use it one time all year.
Yeah.
And there was a key instance in the late part of the game where from where I sit, it was clear it was off of Indiana State, but they called it off of Bradley, and we're going to give it to Indiana State. And I was yelling at him to use his challenge, and he did. I don't know if he heard me.
I'm sure he did.
He might have been
Because
watching
his
the game
assistant
too, though.
coaches
And the call
said,
was-
that's Dr. Sidler again. Maybe you ought to listen to him.
And it was overturned, and I think it did contribute to the big run that Bradley made at the end of the game.
All right. And we have a caller on the line. Good morning.
Good morning, Roger and friends. How are we today?
We're doing wonderful. What's on your mind?
Oh, aside from congestion, we have very, very extreme cold.
You know what, Kyle, I have to tell you,
yeah.
you're under the weather, and I did not recognize your voice. This is Kyle Barnold, and I should have known it was you, but you do have a cold, don't you?
I do, yeah. It really started. I noticed it Sunday night when I was watching the Bears game, and then yesterday it really got rough, just to the point of like the sinus pressure and all that. And,
Yeah, well, we pray for your quick recovery, my friend.
Oh, you're very kind, very kind. No, I just lots of rest, I think, is the answer. And, you know, with this cold weather coming in, I'll tell you time to stay inside and stay warm. So,
Absolutely. That's good advice.
Absolutely. Speaking of the cold, Mother Nature is in a foul mood to finish off the month of January. We are going to be extreme cold. We talked about yesterday morning, extreme cold watch was in effect. Now we have an extreme cold warning. It was in effect 3 a.m. tomorrow morning through noon tomorrow. Dangerous, dangerous cold weather. So extreme cold warning criteria is when the wind chill is below 25 or greater, or lesser, I should say. No, greater, sorry. So with that, we have, you know, frostbite within minutes. We have frozen pipes. We have catastrophic conditions if you're stranded somewhere, life-threatening conditions if you're stranded somewhere. And if you can, avoid travel tomorrow. Avoid going out tomorrow because the schools will be closed with extreme cold warning in play. Schools will not be in session. They won't risk it. They won't chance it. It's a Friday. It's a 3-day weekend. We have e-learning. It's so simple now. Kids will be done with their homework in 40 minutes. It'll be fine. So, yeah. And then, go on. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, Dr. Sidler, do you have a recommendation of what he should take for what he's going through? Just plenty of liquids, get plenty of rest?
Most of what's going around is viruses, and there's not really much to do other than what we call symptomatic treatment. That means decongestants if you can't breathe, and cough medicine, over-the-counter stuff, Tylenol if you have a fever. I'm just getting over a little bit of that myself. My wife has been sick, and a lot of people in our family have had some of this stuff, so there's a lot of it going around.
Yeah, that seems to be the catchphrase right now.
Yeah.
My sweet kitty was sick last week. I actually called you guys from the doctor on the way there. So my sweet 4-year-old daughter gave it to me, so she's very generous like that. No, it's just, treat the symptoms. It's funny because I've been resorting to my old Grandma Arnold's recipe of hot toddies, which really help the nighttime. You know, I don't have any issues at night, but then when I wake up, it's just added congestion and all that stuff. But
When are we going to get a break from all this cold weather?
Let's talk about weather. So the cold weather. Right, can you guys still hear me?
I said, when are we going to see a break? It's not going to be so cold for so long.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
I said, when are we going to get a break from this cold weather?
That's a great question, Roger. I think break as far as above freezing temps Tuesday.
Yeah, I'll take
that. Well, not above freezing, above zero. Let me preface that. Above zero. As far as above 32, February is always nice. I think we do finish January on a frozen note. Every model is indicating such. And speaking of models, we continue to trend further north for this winter storm, this massive winter storm that is going to move across the Tennessee Valley and this Ohio River Valley. We're continuing to see that those models and a lot of backfilling on the snow side, on the back side of it. So originally we thought maybe an inch or two, and yesterday we were saying 5 to 7 inches, and then this morning's models are not deviating from that. It's still 5 to 7 on Sunday, believe it or not. And it arrives late night, Saturday night. I think Saturday you'll see it on radar. Saturday night you'll see it on radar before you see it visibly. When you wake up Sunday, you will have probably snow-covered ground.
Well, are you saying, just to make sure I heard you right, 5 to 7 inches of snow? Did you say?
I'm saying the potential is certainly there. The models are indicating such. And then, you know, that thing could be even more. So I've seen models, 2 to 3 inches, but when you factor in, and I'm going to break out a meteorological term on you, we call it the Kuchera method. So the Kuchera method doesn't factor snow ratios appropriately because on the cold side, which we will be on the backside of this storm, the cold side, you have even higher snow ratios as we have drier air in place. Sometimes the dry air cuts off the snow flow, but in this case, it doesn't appear. It looks like there'll be a couple waves on Sunday, and with that, we'll see accumulating snowfall. And I think, again, 4 to 6 is certainly in our wheelhouse, but 5 to 7 is what the models are really indicating. So we'll have to wait and see what the storm brings us. We're 2 days out. Still lots of time for the storm to shift track. But the last 2 days, the storm has been trending further north in its track. So we'll have to wait and see what comes of that.
So we're not only going to battle some bitterly cold temperatures, but some heavy snowfall as well this weekend.
Yeah, Sunday, I don't recommend commute. I think Sunday morning, especially for church, because you'll be dealing with extreme cold, but then you'll have the snow impact as well on the roads. And it's just with the cold weather, sometimes those treatments don't take because it's going to be too cold for them to take. Now, we are warming up. We're not going to be as extreme as tomorrow by any means. So, and tomorrow, I can't emphasize it enough. I mean, tomorrow will be 30 degrees colder than what it is now. So just know that. So whatever you walked in the studio this morning, whatever you're outside in right now, it is going to be 30 degrees colder than what it is currently outside.
That's not good news. There is some good news, however, with this severe cold weather. You will note on the video out of Minneapolis, the size of the protesters has diminished quite significant. So thank you, Lord. God bless you for putting a damper, if you pardon the expression, on the anti-American demonstrations in Minneapolis.
Yeah.
Praise
I was
the Lord.
chiming into a few groups. I was chiming into a few groups online because I'm not necessarily a troll, but it's kind of fun. And I was just saying to anyone that wants to protest on January 23rd, go out, march, please do so. Do so for an extended period of time, and then we're rid of you. We don't have to deal with you anymore.
Yeah. They get frostbite and their nose fall off.
Yeah.
It's funny. Just it's so funny because people are like, don't go to businesses on Friday. No one's going to go to businesses on Friday. It's going to be too damn cold. Anywhere on Friday.
So it will work.
And then, excuse me, hon.
Yeah.
It's going to backfire excuse me, I'm sorry, is tomorrow in the South, you're going to have crazy people amounts of grocery shopping and getting items for the winter storm heading for them. So it cancels it out. It's a moot point. It's so ridiculous. It's boycott stuff.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Piggly Wiggly's going to be busy tomorrow and maybe Friday. I'm sorry, Saturday.
Piggly Wiggly, I haven't heard that in years.
Oh, I love the Piggly
Oh, I
Wiggly.
did too. I like their billboards. Piggly Wiggly, one of the, and A&P come.
A&P.
Was that Atlantic and Pacific, right?
Tea company.
Yeah,
Tea company?
Yep. And then you can't forget the Food Lion. Everybody loves the Food Lion down south too.
I never heard of that one.
Harris Teeter.
Harris Teeter, yep.
Those are in North Carolina.
And also North Carolina also has Lowe's, which gets very confusing when you're going to Lowe's for your hardware and then Lowe's for your bread and coffee.
Really?
Yeah.
Same company?
No, I think it's two different companies, but they spell it the same.
That's interesting. Well, Kyle, take care of yourself.
Yes, sir.
Drink some
I
tea
appreciate
and
it.
put some lemon and some
I have right now,
syrup.
tea and honey and lemon.
There you go.
Yep.
You got it. Very
No
good.
risk to it.
I'll
No
send you
Too early for that.
a bill for the medical advice. Anyway, take care of yourself, and we'll see you around
Yeah, you too.
8:20.
Yeah,
I
I'm
don't
calling
mean
8:20
see you, but we'll talk to you around 8:20.
No, my voice will be better. Hopefully by
right,
then
I
I
know.
just got to
All
get
right,
some
all
tea
right.
with honey on me. And then one other thing, real quick. With the extreme cold, we cannot emphasize enough. You always talk about pet tips of the day.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's pet tip of the day: keep them inside. Don't risk it. It's just
Amen. You're
life
exactly
starting
right.
cold.
It will be very dangerous for them. Kyle, take care of yourself, and we'll talk to you in a couple hours.
We're talking about an hour and a half. We'll
Okay.
see you.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Mr. Weather, under the weather this morning. Just shows you, I don't care who you are, people do get sick. You've had a few battles
I've
in
had it
your
on and
lifetime.
off all winter. I
Yeah.
don't know what's going on.
Well, you're lounging around too much. You know, before you retired, you were busy, too busy to get ill. Did you ever get ill while you were calling on
I
patients?
never. In
Yeah,
40
isn't that
years,
amazing?
I never
Yeah.
missed a single day from illness. Now, I did feel poorly
Hmm.
sometimes, but it always seemed to fall on a weekend. and,
Well,
and
Gore's
I'd
gonna
spoil my
ruin your
but
weekend.
No, I never missed a day of work. Now, I did miss sometimes for obvious reasons, like being out of town and breaking my hip. But other than that,
Yeah. You know, I think what happened, and as you know, I worked at Methodist for 25 years, and that was some of my healthiest days of my life. For one reason, I was younger then than I am now. But I think working in a hospital, you develop some kind of a strengthening of your immune system. That was my theory. I bought into it.
no,
would you?
I think there's some truth to that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was a study done in looking at English children. You know, a lot of homes in England don't even have central heating. They might have a fireplace. They might have a central stove or something like that. They keep their homes very chilly. Kids bundle up indoors all winter long, even though it never really gets quite as cold there as it does here in the U.S. But they have a lot of childhood colds among English children, but they don't get sick as much as adults. They have far fewer colds and upper respiratory infections. And people have wondered about that and studied it. The theory is that, yeah, maybe we think that there's maybe 150 to 200 cold viruses. Maybe you get more of them as a kid. You'll have fewer of them when you get older as an adult. You've developed the immunities. And that even if it might even be a different virus but of the same family, it might have some immunity that still covers it as you get older. So yeah, there's some weight to that theory that immunity can be stimulated to prevent cold viruses.
We're going to talk about vitamin D when we get done with news, weather, and sports. I wanted to get your thoughts on it because there was a big story on one of the cable channels that I found very fascinating. In the meantime, let's get into the news and the weather on WAZU. And indeed. It's WAZU News, Weather, and Sports on FM 90.7 in Peoria, Illinois. And it is Thursday, the 22nd of January, and we get into a check of the weather brought to you by Steve Sink. He's a certified business intermediary with PHX Affiliates. Steve has been a business broker for over 20 years and has sold businesses from $25,000 to $45 million. He specializes in business valuations. He knows business. And you can receive today for more information at 309-696-8505. Well, as was noted earlier and in our discussion, we've got an extreme cold weather warning from the National Weather Bureau, and it begins 3 a.m. tomorrow morning and continues up until tomorrow at noon. Otherwise, today, increasing cloudiness and windy, a high of 33, and kiss that one goodbye shortly because we have some dangerous cold temperatures overnight reaching low 6 below, and wind chill values reaching 21 below, and isn't helped by the winds gusting up to 26 miles per hour. And that is brings us to tomorrow. Cold one, Mr. Grinch, sunny, windy, high of 3 degrees, and that's it. Wind chill values 24 below. Tomorrow night, cloudy and 3 below. Saturday, it'll be cloudy and cold with a 40% chance for snow and a high of 10. Snow likely Saturday night, low 5. I did not ask, and I had it on my mind, but it slipped away due to time constraints, whether or not that snow of any accumulation will begin before Sunday. Now, Sunday did say 4 to 6. He also said 4 to 7. Translated, we're going to get a lot of snow.
Well, I don't know. My prediction scheme tells me we're not going to hardly get any, because that's based on the fact that I got the snowblower out yesterday.
Yes,
and it started immediately.
Yeah.
It started immediately. Therefore,
Yes.
we're going, at least in Lakin, we're not going to get any snow.
I think you're right. It's kind of the old theory, wash your car and it'll rain.
Yeah.
I don't deny that. Anyway, snow on Sunday, high 15, Monday sunny and 15. And right now our temperature 16 degrees. Now with our lead story, here's Mike.
Thank you, Roger. President Donald Trump was ridiculed and criticized by some European leaders and a number of lawmakers in this country for proposing to make Greenland part of the United States. Appearing like a political Houdini, Donald Trump has done it again. He announced that there is an agreement for a future deal with NATO involving Greenland and the Arctic region. Trump said that if the framework he brokered is finalized, it'll be great for Greenland, the NATO countries, and the United States.
And also the president, who's in Davos, Switzerland today, had the big peace board that he put together with apparently 35 countries. That how many you counted?
Yes, that's how many have expressed positive interest in joining, and the invitation was extended to 50 countries, so maybe others will as well. Sounds like a good idea, especially since the United Nations, which was founded for these same purposes, has had very little effect in achieving peace. In fact, probably does more harm than good.
Yeah, interestingly, they noted on cable television news that they had people on the board at the current time who were at each other's throats, actually warring against each other, now sitting next to one another, which is an important achievement. A little factoid or two, the island of Greenland is the largest in the world, covering 836,000 miles, most of them empty, by the way.
Yeah.
Yes, correct, with a population of around 57,000. So it is a big country land-wise, a little country. There are more people in Peoria than in
probably
Greenland.
more people in Bloomington.
Oh, Bloomington's almost the size of Peoria now, I think. It's getting there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think you're right.
How about Hopedale?
No,
It's bigger than Hopedale.
It's bigger
yeah,
than Hopedale.
yeah,
Both size and population.
I don't know
that's-
about Creve Coeur.
yeah, but that's not counting the polar bears in Greenland.
Yeah.
There are probably a
Yeah.
lot more of those.
You know what? That's right. You know, they were on the endangered list for a while.
Not anymore, right?
And they almost were disappearing as quick as the polar bars. Remember the polar bars? Ice cream bars?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
they're
yeah.
still around. Yeah.
Are they still around?
Yeah.
Where? I haven't seen
I've
them.
seen them. I don't know, not in this area, but I've seen them.
Well, see, there you are.
store.
Probably in Florida.
Maybe in Florida.
Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe. Well, in this country, another federal officer has been injured by a driver with a criminal record. It happened in Los Angeles, where an illegal immigrant hit the officer with his vehicle and then drove off. William Caballo of El Salvador was captured after a chase. He was wanted for human smuggling and for allegedly beating up his partner not once, but twice.
You ever watch the wrestling matches in downtown Peoria in the summer where they had the tag? Actually, it was on Main Street behind a tavern called The Basket. I think that's what they call it. And they had the tag matches. Remember how they'd
Yep.
be beating the guy up, and of course
Tag
it was
teams,
all
yeah.
staged, and he would rush over to touch his partner so he could get in the ring.
Oh,
Polar
yeah,
Bear's
tag-
original 4-pack
It
there.
looks like
it is.
Aldi's has them, at least on their website.
Aldi's
I don't know
does.
if they have them in
Polar
the store,
bars.
but yeah, Polar
Oh,
Bars.
yummy.
a
Aldi's
six-pack,
has the best
box of-
stuff.
Or 4-pack.
Yeah, they do, don't they? How many calories in one of those does it say?
I don't know.
I mean,
if
who's?
this is just an ad
I'm not
form
counting
or,
them.
Well, here, yeah, it does have the nutritional information. I have to zoom in
You
on
know,
this.
zoom in on it. Well, I tell everybody, a federal court of appeals has given the Trump administration a win as it reversed a lower court ruling that placed restrictions on how ICE agents can arrest the bad guys. Those restrictions, by the way, were imposed by U.S. District Judge Catherine Menendez, a Democrat, appointed by who else but President Biden in 2021.
A jury in Uvalde, Texas, has found a police officer not guilty of 29 counts of child abandonment after 7 hours of deliberation. This decision frees school officer Adrian Gonzalez of any responsibility for allegedly failing to confront the gunman who shot and killed 19 students and 2 adults at the Robb Elementary School in 2022.
In Iran, the government has brought in foreign militias to take control of the cities where citizens have been rioting. Residents say the militias are from Hezbollah and Iraq and use Toyotas equipped with automatic weapons to terrorize neighborhoods with random firings into houses and buildings. And they're doing it. They're driving through the neighborhoods, just shooting at, just crazy stuff. It's estimated there's some 5,000 of those bad guys now working under the umbrella of the Iranian government.
Well, that their military certainly doesn't seem to be holding up their end of it. So you're bringing in people from, quote, out of town
Yes,
to try to
out-of-towners.
pacify everyone. In local news, Peoria County Coroner Jamie Harwood identified the fatal victim from a fire in Chillicothe Tuesday as 62-year-old Michael Broadbeck. Broadbeck was pulled from the house fire in the 16,000 block of North Galena Road and rushed to a local hospital for treatment of smoke inhalation. However, efforts to revive Broadbeck were unsuccessful, said Harwood. Other residents of the house were able to safely escape from the burning structure.
Interesting, I don't know if the two of you remember, there was an official, very highly regarded and high esteemed, that worked high school and I believe college games as well, by the name of Bob Broadbeck. Does that ring a bell with either one of you? No.
Nope.
Not
Who
at
was the
all.
most famous referee ever to work in Peoria
gotta be-
at Bradley games?
Eddie Hightower.
That would be one, yes,
Yeah.
definitely. Jim Enright, who's I'm thinking of. He was a columnist. He wrote, I believe, for the Chicago Daily News. And he, when he called a foul, he would be very animated, almost theatrical.
Yeah, a lot
And
of them do get that
you
right.
remember that? Oh, he would. He was wonderful. I mean, you enjoyed it. Even when he made a bad call against Bradley, we still booed him but cheered him
Yeah.
because of his antics on the court. and nobody does that anymore.
Oh,
Once in a while,
there are a
on
couple.
a basket made and a foul,
Well, yeah,
you
yeah.
get the guy that go out there in the middle of the court just
Yeah.
to give that dunk sign.
Yeah, you're
To
right,
make
you're
it
right.
clear that the basket counts.
My favorite one though was I remember seeing it once in an Illini game where the referee on the field for the football game called the foul and called it called like a 15-yard penalty for giving him the business.
Yeah. he even used a signal that's
Yeah.
not a standard football
Yeah.
signal. He was giving him the business. He was doing a punch down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There are some that do the dramatics. You're right.
I can find out who that was because
You look that up,
I see
White.
that replay a lot.
Time
on
and time
TV.
again, yeah.
In the meantime, I'll tell you, Peoria Heights Police, I think, are still asking for help in locating 50-year-old Ariel Fuller. The man walked out of a nursing home on Gardner Lane January 3rd. That's a long time ago. We've had some bad cold temperatures and hasn't been seen since then. We hope that he's in the care of somebody. He's described as 6'3", weighs around 195 pounds. He was wearing a gray stocking cap, gray hoodie, red jacket, and blue sweatpants. If you have any information that could lead to his whereabouts, call Heights Police at 309-686-3461. That number again, 686-3461. Now we have news coming up from WCBU, brought to you by Matt Wall, CPA, and tax specialist with Gordon Stockman and Wall. Tax time, you know, boys and girls, just around the corner, and now's the time to start planning and get organized. Matt is experienced in handling tax returns, but also in federal and state tax compliance, employee benefits, estate, and trust tax planning. Learn more from Matt. He's available at 309-692-4030. What's that number again, Roger? That number again, 692-4030. Now from
From the
WCBU.
WCBU Newsroom, I'm Courtney Conroy. Washington residents concerned about the possible installation of a digital billboard at a busy intersection can rest easy. The City Council this week did not vote on a variance request from Robinson Outdoor, effectively killing the Missouri-based company's billboard plan. City Attorney Mark Walton explains why a council vote wasn't needed.
We put it on the agenda just to have a formal record that we're not going to be taking action to approve the ordinance. So it's really more a matter of housekeeping than anything else.
The billboard would have been installed at the Eagle Avenue and Peoria Street intersection. U.S. Senator Dick Durbin says a legitimate investigation into the fatal shooting of Renee Good earlier this month is unlikely. Durbin says the federal government's efforts to block state and local law enforcement from fully investigating the shooting is, quote, proof this is not a credible investigation.
An investigation into the death of an innocent person is not complete or credible unless we reach out and gather every single resource to understand what happened and understand the truth.
Durbin appeared in central Illinois this week as part of Route 66 Centennial Kickoff. Peoria Heights leaders have reached a compromise with developers of the former Save-A-Lot property that will add public parking to the project. Mayor Matt Wigginton says the developers' willingness to cooperate led to the compromise.
I appreciate the developer being willing to essentially donate 15 spots to the village of Peoria Heights for public parking.
The agreement will include a row of angled public parking spaces along the Prospect Road location and 1 lane of parking for residents. And the American Red Cross is issuing a call for donations amid a severe blood shortage, with hospital requests exceeding the available supply. The higher demand has resulted in a 35% drawdown of blood products over the past month. The need is particularly high for platelets, as well as blood types O, A negative, and B negative. Interested donors are encouraged to visit Peoria's Red Cross Donation Center on John Gwynn Jr. Avenue or attend one of Greater Peoria's blood drives scheduled through the end of the month. I'm Courtney Conroy, WCBU News.
Hey, it's time for sports, ladies and gentlemen, and it's brought to you by BradleyFans.com. Dr. Gene Sidler with all the details. Good morning, Gino.
Good morning, and Roger, thank you. There's some sports from last night. Bradley basketball beat a stubborn Indiana State team 75-68. Bradley improved to 14-7 overall, 7-3 in the Missouri Valley. They shot poorly nearly the entire game, trailed for the first 38 minutes of the game. Indiana State had their biggest lead of 8 points with 5 minutes left, but then Bradley got rolling and started chipping away, and in the final 2 minutes they pulled even and then pulled ahead and ended up winning by 7 points, 75-68. Bradley scored the last 15 points of the game to pull off that come-from-behind win. Bradley's next game is Saturday night at 7 p.m. at the Civic Center against University of Illinois Chicago. That game will be on ESPN+. It'll be their first meeting of the season with UIC, and it should be a good game because UIC has won 5 in a row in the Missouri Valley, including wins over some of the top teams in the league, Illinois State, Northern Iowa, Drake. They're playing very well. In other Missouri Valley games last night, Murray State suffered their first conference loss of the season and broke their 12-game win streak, losing at Drake 101-90.
Ooh, good game.
So now Bradley just a couple of games behind them in third place. Illinois State beat Northern Iowa 59-54 in a low-scoring game over in Normal. And Valparaiso beat Southern Illinois 69-63. Bradley women, they are in action tonight. They're 11-7, 4-3 in the conference. They play it's Friday night. I'm a day ahead here. They play tomorrow night at home against Valparaiso up on campus in the Renaissance Coliseum, 6 p.m. on the ESPN Plus streaming network. Number 11 this week in the AP Top 25, Illinois won last night. They beat Maryland 89-70. They improved to 16-3 overall, 7-1 in the Big Ten. They stay in a 4-way tie for second place behind Nebraska. Nebraska 8-0 in the conference so far, and Illinois tied at 7-1 with Michigan, Michigan State, and Purdue, and they will play Purdue on Saturday at 2 p.m. That'll be on Fox, that over at Purdue. In the NFL, the AFC and NFC conference finals are Sunday. The final 4 teams vying for the Super Bowl. In the AFC, it's the New England Patriots at the Denver Broncos, 2 p.m. on Fox. New England a 5.5-point favorite. And in the NFC, it's the Los Angeles Rams at the Seattle Seahawks at 5:30 on Fox. Seattle 2.5-point favorite. Baseball news, former Cub free agent Cody Bellinger signed a huge contract with the New York Yankees for 5 years, $162.5 million. And
Is he that good?
he's better than average, but is he a Hall of Famer? Is he a?
I don't think so.
Is he even an All-Star? He's borderline. He's a good player and he hits in the clutch. But it didn't help. He did play for the Yankees last year, and it didn't help him all that much. They did not advance very far in the playoffs. So we'll see. He's still. I think he's like 31 or 32, maybe. So
he's got a good 3 to 4
he's kind of
more
at that
years.
point in which almost all players start a decline in their performance numbers.
Yeah,
So
that
that
happened
kind
to
of,
me.
Yeah, that's why Kyle Tucker got such a big contract, because he's only, I think, 28 or 29. He's a little bit younger than most of the free agents that were available on the market. 2 players were elected to this year's class, the 2026 class, in the Baseball Hall of Fame by the Baseball Writers of America, Carlos Beltran and Andrew Jones. They joined Jeff Kent, who was elected by the Contemporary Baseball Era Committee back in December. Andrew Jones played most of his career for the Atlanta Braves. He's a 10-time Gold Glover and a 5-time All-Star. And Carlos Beltran had a terrific career. He played 19 seasons for 8 different teams, former Rookie of the Year, former 9-time All-Star, and he was a World Series winner in the 2017 Houston Astros. That was the season where they were found to be cheating by banging on a garbage can. You remember that story?
Yes, I sure
So
do.
they were scoping out what signals were being given by the catchers, relaying them to somebody in the dugout who would let the batter know if it was a fastball or an off-speed pitch. Anyway, all of the players associated with the steroid era, they did not get any improvement in their vote percentages. They're falling off. They're not going to make it. That's too bad. That includes guys like Manny Ramirez, Alex Rodriguez, Roger Clemens, Barry Bonds, Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire, and many others. Tough luck for them. But again, it falls into that category that the writers kind of have their biases and political preferences and biases, and steroids are apparently just not going to get you in, nor is gambling in the case of
Pete
Pete
Rose,
Rose.
yeah.
So that's it for sports.
Yeah. You know, you can't go anywhere today without politics being involved. I've served on the board of a couple of churches, and politics rears its ugly heads, even in the boards of
And it's
churches.
vicious now. It's not just that you disagree. You want to kill the person.
Well, rhetorically, yes.
Well, rhetorically, but I mean, you see videos now on social media. All you got to do is, Roger, just put on a red hat, and it doesn't even have to say MAGA
I don't
on
put
it.
it. I've got one
But
in my
just a
truck.
red hat will
But,
get people
yeah.
right in your face screaming at you.
Yeah, that guy that I wanted so bad to punch that guy that had his phone, and I think he was reading all of his crap in front of a little short, ball-headed guy that probably couldn't run a 100-yard dash in 2 days. And he was viciously, verbally attacking this guy with his left-wing rhetoric. And if anybody, and he's still walking around free. He should have been charged with disorderly conduct. And I think, Mr. Attorney, maybe assault,
Yeah.
even though, can you be charged with it even though you don't hit a guy?
oh, absolutely.
But
Yeah,
you
I mean,
intimidate him?
Yeah, I mean,
How did he get away
Battery
with
is
it?
when you actually hit somebody.
Actual- right.
Assault is just a
Assault
threat of violence.
It's just the threat of violence, the threat of touch. I think it's a threat of an unwanted touching. I mean, you can spit on someone. That's a battery.
Oh, that's a battery,
The threat
yeah.
to spit on someone is assault.
And they've done that with some ICE agents. There
Yeah.
have been women who have spit on, and it's deplorable. But, you know, the unfortunate thing is that Minneapolis police have been told to stand down and not arrest anybody for that matter, including those assaulting the ICE agents.
Well, the thing of it is, like with this incident in Milwaukee, or not Milwaukee, but Minneapolis at the
Minneapolis,
church, you know, it's like, well, you know, we have a right to say, no, well, you do, but you don't have the right to be free of consequences, because, you know, that's very clearly where you're crossing the line on the First Amendment. You know, you have a right to say as you want. You don't have a right to interrupt a religious service. You want to, you know, like years ago, they used to have these protests outside of churches that were, you know, had a liberal bent, where they, oh, well, you know, we accept everybody, we do gay marriages. And, you know, whether you agree with that or not, if a church wants to do that, it's their absolute right.
You bet it is.
And if you don't like it, was it like Westbrook Baptist or something that was protesting outside these churches that were, you know, embracing the Rainbow Coalition? And hey, you know, you have, you know, that's your absolute right. I mean, if your church wants to accept that, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But, you know, if you want to protest that, yeah, you can protest, but outside. You know, if you go in and interfere with the service, you know, my personal feeling was Westbrook Baptist took it way, way outside the boundaries of decency by, you know, protesting these funerals that they were raising Cain about. But, yeah, really, it's not only a poor form, I think it is abusive when you know, particularly when you protest inside the church or the synagogue or, you know, whatever you want, a mosque. No, you know, you protest outside, protest, you know, on the, you know, the public areas outside of these venues, but to go inside and disrupt, that's beyond all boundaries right there in my mind.
Yeah, and I couldn't agree with you more. Let me draw a parallel. They have sent to jail elderly women protesting outside
Yeah.
abortion clinics.
Right.
And yet here they go into a church, interrupt church
Right.
services, intimidate, assault church members. I saw a video, and I mentioned this yesterday, of a young girl, I'm going to say 10, 11 years of age, who was being hugged by her father because she was scared to death. And
absolutely.
to my estimation, Minneapolis police have not arrested anyone. However, the DOJ has taken that video, and I believe this guy, who is a professional agitator, gets paid for showing
Yeah.
up at protests.
I'm
I
sure
think
he does.
he's going to get arrested.
sure he
He's
does.
going to go to jail.
Well, the Biden
Hallelujah
administration,
for that.
yeah, the Biden administration put laws in place that enabled them to arrest and send, elderly women to prison for protesting outside abortion clinics. And we're not talking about people who are threatened. We're talking about women sitting out there with protest signs that offended someone in their safe space. And I think what DOJ is looking at doing now is using those same laws, and hey, the worm is turned. So what's sauce for the goose is sauce for the gander. So I fully expect to see some of these people to be put in jail for that. I mean, hey, if that's one of the things that the Democrats have done on a regular basis, which is they've put in place laws or implemented legal actions against people using laws on the books in a way that may have been novel, and now they're going to see what they've they're going to reap what they've sown.
Yes.
Because frankly, it is outside the bounds of decency, and if you're going to distort legal theory to put people in jail, well, I mean, you're going to use the same thing. The DOJ is going to use the same sort of application, going the other way, going against leftist protesters. We'll see how that turns out.
Yes. I have a question for you, and I've heard this a number of times, and I wanted somebody to give me more information. You said the sauce for the goose and sauce for the gander.
Yep.
Has anyone defined what kind of sauce that is? Is that cranberry sauce?
I think it probably
What-
is cranberry based.
What do you think, Gene? You have any idea what kind of sauce we're
Hey,
talking
I'm
about?
more
I
about
don't know.
facts and science, so let me look it up.
Well, look it up, would you? Because I want to know what kind of sauce, and is it available today? Is it not just for geese and goose?
Well, it could be for turkey or chicken.
Well, that's what I want to know. You can't throw out stuff like that
It
without.
dates back to the 1670s, the
Okay.
first time that it can be found that a similar phrase was used. And because there's nobody alive since then, we don't know what sauce.
We don't know what
We
sauce
can
it
just
is,
make
yeah.
something up.
As long as it's not spicy, right? You don't like
Probably
spicy sauce.
I like spicy.
Yeah, you do, but Gene doesn't.
No, I don't really
either.
like
yeah.
spicy. I wouldn't have done well back in the
No,
60s
I
and
wouldn't.
70s.
They would have
Most
said,
of those-
"What's wrong with Gene Sidler?" Oh, he took another downfall with hot sauce from Taco Bell.
Just think about how we never think twice about refrigeration and how it
Yeah.
keeps things fresh. People used to eat stuff that was on the verge of rotting and putrid, and how they did that and didn't die from all of the terrible things that we would get today if we tried eating food that was not kept in sanitary refrigerated.
Longevity was short term back
It was,
then,
that's
so
true.
Yeah.
that may have something to do. I am grateful to you and this program because you broke new information last week. It was because I was concerned about the quality of eggs in my refrigerator, and it said best if used by such and such a date. Well, it was long gone, but I went ahead and broke 2 eggs, make scrambled eggs, and so far I'm still alive.
4 months.
And you said
refrigerated eggs are good for 4 months.
4
wow.
months
At least.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe longer.
All right.
Now, if you keep them out in the room temperature,
Well.
they'll start to develop
Yeah.
if they are fertilized.
Right.
Yeah.
Most eggs that you get at the grocery store are unfertilized eggs, so
Right.
they won't develop into an embryo. So you probably could give them out on a room temperature table, but like I mentioned last week, they in England you buy them off the shelf in
That's
the
what you were
grocery
saying.
stores. They are
Not
refrigerated.
refrigerated.
Yeah, people
Yeah.
don't refrigerate, and then people take them home and they put them in a bowl on the kitchen table, and they don't refrigerate eggs.
That's why they have a lot of cuckoos in
I don't know.
England. My son, oldest son Dan, took a trip to China when he was working on his master's degree at Illinois State University. And for a meal, they dug up out of the earth an egg, a huge egg, and served it for the guests of some local province or whatever. I said, "You ate it?" And he said, "Yeah."
Well, it's probably a duck egg. It was bigger than like a regular chicken.
It was, yeah. I
Like
don't
a
know how
duck egg.
big it was, but if my memory serves me right, and it had on the side, best if used before 20 BC. I'm kidding, but he did say that they did dig up a big egg. I told him, I said, I lay one of those every day on the show. All right, let's do the news headlines after that poor attempt at humor. And it is brought to you by Bob Manning. For investment questions and information, talk to Bob Manning. He's with the Grandview Capital Group at Morgan Stanley in Peoria. Bob is a senior vice president, has been in the investment field for more than 27 years now, and his telephone number for consultation, 309-671-4653. Morgan Stanley, Smith Barney, LLC, member SIPC. Mike Dentino has our headlines. Michael.
Roger, I'm here.
10-4.
President Donald Trump was criticized by some European leaders and a number of lawmakers in this country for proposing to make Greenland part of the United States. Despite the naysayers, Donald Trump did it again, however, announcing what he says is an agreement of a future deal with NATO involving Greenland and the Arctic region. Trump said that if the framework he brokered is finalized, it will be great for Greenland, NATO countries, and the United States. Trump had warned European leaders that he would be imposing strong tariffs starting February 1st if no agreement could be reached. The president says Russia and China are seeking military bases in Greenland, which is the world's largest island, covering some 836,000 square miles, with a population of around 57,000 people. In this country, another federal officer has been injured by a driver with a criminal record. It happened in Los Angeles, where an illegal immigrant hit an officer with his vehicle and then drove off. William Caballo of El Salvador was captured after a chase. He was wanted for human smuggling and for allegedly beating up his partner not once, but twice. A federal court of appeals has given the Trump administration a win as it reversed a lower court ruling that placed restrictions on how ICE agents can arrest bad guys. Restrictions were imposed by the U.S. District Judge Catherine Menendez, a Democrat, appointed by President Biden in 2021. A jury in Uvalde, Texas, has found a police officer not guilty of 29 counts of child abandonment after 7 hours of deliberation. The decision frees school officer Adrian Gonzalez of any responsibility for allegedly failing to confront the gunman who shot and killed 19 students and 2 adults at the Robb Elementary School in 2022. In local news, Peoria County Coroner Jamie Harwood identified the fatal victim from a fire in Chillicothe Tuesday as 62-year-old Michael Broadbeck. Broadbeck was pulled from a house fire in the 16,000 block of North Old Galena Road and rushed to a local hospital for treatment of smoke inhalation. Efforts to revive Broderick, however, were unsuccessful. Other residents of the house were able to safely escape from the burning structure. Peoria Heights police are asking for your help in locating 50-year-old Ario Fuller. The man walked out of a nursing home on Gardner Lane on January 3rd and hasn't been seen since then. He's described as 6'3", weighing around 195 pounds. He was last seen wearing a gray stocking cap, a gray hoodie, red jacket, and blue sweatpants. Call police at 309-868-3461 if you've seen Fuller. In sports, Bradley defeated Indiana State in the Civic Center last night, 75-68, and Illinois whipped Maryland in Champaign, 89-70. Details on the games and more sports news with Dr. Gene Sidler coming up at the top of the hour. And Roger, that's it for news at the bottom of the hour.
Thank you, Mike. So now a check of the weather this morning brought to you as a service of Morton Community Banks with over 50 branches across central and northwestern Illinois, offering a full range of personal and business banking services. Hometown banks, FDIC insured, so your deposits are safe. Look for the clock tower and you'll know they have time for you. The National Weather Bureau announcing an extreme cold weather warning beginning at 3 tomorrow morning and extending until noon tomorrow. Today it'll be cloudy and windy with a high of 33, cloudy and dangerously cold overnight with a low 6 below, with wind chill values that could reach 21 below. Winds gusting make things very, especially colder, gusting to 26 miles per hour. How about tomorrow? Sunny, windy, and very cold, a high 3 degrees. Wind chill values down to 24 below. Tomorrow night, cloudy and 3 below. Saturday, cloudy and cold, 40% chance for snow, a high of 10. Sunday, we'll have snow. Kyle's talking about 5 to 7 inches, 4 to 6 inches on Sunday. High of 15, Monday sunny and 15 degrees. And currently, we are at 17, and that's a check of the weather.
The impact of a meal goes well beyond feeding our bodies, because when people don't have to worry about where their next meal is coming from, they can truly thrive, like Marta.
And now we'll hear from our class valedictorian, who with our hard work never ceases to amaze us. Please welcome Marta Moreno.
And Alex.
Hey, Alex, how did the interview go?
I did it! I got the job! I can't believe it!
I knew it. Let's meet up later to celebrate.
And Diego.
Mom! I got first place at the science fair with my volcano project.
That's amazing, sweetie. Congratulations.
Because when people are fed, futures are nourished, and everyone deserves to live a full life. Join the movement to end hunger at feedingamerica.org/actnow. feedingamerica.org/actnow. A public service announcement brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Today's Pet Tip is brought to you by Peoria Pet Crematory of Peoria and Lewiston, providing final care for family pets, large and small, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Their phone number is 713-1898. That's 713-1898. More information is available at peoriapetcrematory.com.
Pet lovers are dedicated to their animals, all species from horses to turtles and of course cats and dogs. If you are a pet lover, learn these little-known, somewhat amazing facts about your pet. Caring for our pets is just like caring for children. We need to remember their treatments and appointments and keep them current. Sometimes, with all that's going on in our lives, this can be difficult. I suggest you use a family calendar that you write your pet's needs right along with your family's appointments. If you use the calendar on your smartphone, tablet, or other electronic device, just key in the things you need to remember and have it beep you when a task is due. It's easy to remember to feed, water, and walk a pet, but when was the last time you bathed your dog, clipped their nails, or gave them their monthly flea treatment? Today's flea treatments are designed to work in such a way that we need only apply the treatment once a month. But it has to be done regularly and consistently to be effective. Monthly also makes it easy to forget. Bathing, depending on the breed, should be done once a month as well. Nails should be clipped every 2 weeks, and dental cleaning should be done yearly, the same as vaccinations. If we know we have something coming due, it's easier to fit it into our schedules rather than scrambling at the last minute to update vaccinations or paying more to bring an animal current on their treatments. Dental cleanings is one of those treatments that, if missed, can cause you more expense. Plaque left untreated causes heart disease. So make use of whatever device you have and add your pet's needs to your calendar. This whisker of information has been made possible by a grant from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting in partnership with Spot, Saving Pets One at a Time, and KSBR Studios. Produced by Joseph C. McGuire and theme music by Stuardo Glasser.
Today's Pet Tip has been brought to you by Peoria Pet Crematory of Peoria and Lewiston, providing final care for family pets, large and small, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Their phone number is 713-1898. That's 713-1898. More information is available at peoriapetcrematory.com.
Well, thank you very kindly, Louis Linder, with the pet tip of the day. 17 degrees is our current temperature. We're going to warm up to a high today of 33. I wanted to have our distinguished panel this morning talk a little bit about the case down in Uvalde, Texas, where a police officer was charged with 29 counts of, in the bottom line, I guess, malfeasance, because he did not confront the gunman, and apparently prosecutors down there decided to make him
Scapegoat.
the scapegoat. Exactly.
Right.
What are your thoughts, Mr. Attorney?
Well, what they actually charged him with was a count of, or 2 counts of child endangerment for every student that was killed. And the prosecutors figured they needed to make an example of someone. I mean, I don't know exactly what the testimony is, but apparently one of the teachers that was their primary witness changed her testimony slightly. She was the one that was saying, "Oh, well, he just stood there and did nothing," while the gunman was inside shooting the children. And apparently at trial, instead of saying that he was in one specific spot, she changed her testimony. And it wasn't a dramatic change. It was like, well, I don't know if the gunman was on this end of the hallway or that end of the hallway, but she changed it enough that the jury, after hearing the testimony, came back after 7 hours of deliberation and said, no, we don't, again, you got to remember that there's a very high standard. You're beyond a reasonable doubt when you're talking about a criminal trial. And the jury decided it wasn't responsible, or he wasn't liable for the deaths based on the testimony as given in the trial by this teacher. I'm sure that the prosecutors are very unhappy about that, but I mean, number one, what are you going to do? Now, why she changed her testimony, I can't even begin to imagine. But I'm not sure that it was a reasonable prosecution to begin with. I mean, anytime you've got a mass shooting like this in a grade school, passions are very inflamed.
They want to blame somebody.
They want to blame
I guess
somebody.
He was
yeah.
handy.
There were 77 officers involved in this case that eventually showed up at this Uvalde school. Only 2 were indicted. This Gonzalez was one of them, so there apparently will be one more trial unless they drop the charges. And that has angered a lot of the parents and people who's lost family members. But
right.
you know, you got to look at who was giving the orders. There was confusion. They were not told to go in and confront this shooter initially. Finally, after 77 minutes, from the time the first officer appeared there till the time they confronted the shooter and shot them dead, there was 77 minutes of delay. And meanwhile, he did most of his killing during that time. So yeah, and it was an officer who sort of defied orders who went in and finally shot the guy. So it really, I think, is a failure at higher levels of how this was organized, how the team that responded was organized, and who was in charge to giving the orders.
Now, the police chief did resign.
Right.
As part of this. My take on it, and what I followed a little bit on it, was there was wrongdoing at the very beginning because this young gunman gained access into the building. And I think what I read, they did have a system of locks so that not anyone could walk in, but somehow he managed to gain access. So the question becomes, who released the locks so he could come in?
Right.
And were the cameras, or did they have cameras secure?
You're supposed to lay your life on the line.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, but the problem is, again, this is a job. It's unlike any other job in some respects, but it is a job nevertheless, and everyone wants to go home to their families at night. You're talking about a school. One of the problems with schools is that you've got dozens of doors, and the doors have to be set up so that you can facilitate children going out to recess, children going to lunch. You can have, in the times we're living in now, a lot of schools have metal detectors at the front door. You're checking kids for, weapons, which is, years ago that was literally unheard of. Now it's kind of a trope. And in that respect, certainly, we could chain all the doors shut. That would certainly keep anyone from getting in. But then you also have to consider what happens if there's a fire. What happens if there's a tornado? It's all a matter of choices. It's weighing your options. For every, very secure facility, there's a reason why you don't want to have the doors chained. In fact, fire codes are such that doing that would, put different risks on the students. I think that you combine that with the fact that if you weren't actually there, the people who were there know. The people who are, that were standing around the corner in the hallway waiting either for someone to give them the order to go in or waiting for the gunfire to stop before they deign to look around the corner. Is there reasons for the parents of the children that were killed to be angry? Well, probably, but, us sitting on the sidelines can only speculate or look at the video that's shown, and even watching the video, you're still speculating as to, what was in the mind of the gunman? What was in the mind of the police? Were they told to, we don't know where this gunman is. We don't know how many gunmen there are. Are they, we can hear gunshots, but are people being shot, or are they just firing at random? Is it even the gunman that's firing? Is it the police that are firing? We lack really information in a lot of respects, and for us, it's Monday morning quarterbacking. But I don't know. I think were these two officers being scapegoated, or did they really, screw something up badly?
Even though Adrian Gonzalez was found not guilty,
Right.
He and his family, I'm sure, will pack up and leave because there
without
will be
question.
people who will continue to condemn them, probably say things if they have children about their children. So I'm willing to bet sooner rather than later there will be a sign in the yard for sale, and they will look to sell their home and move out of maybe the entire state of Texas to start a new life because, for one thing, I'm sure the officer will have doubts for the rest of his life about what he should have done, could have done, and didn't do.
Right.
Even though a court of law, good morning, even though a court of law found him not guilty. So he will carry that for the rest of his life, and so will his family, and so will if
Right.
he has children.
Because, he indeed is the only person that really knows his mind at that time and why he
Did what he
did or didn't do
Yes.
what went on. So, it's the only thing we can say is that, this chapter is over. To the families of the children that were murdered, all we can do is, offer our condolences and prayers. Nothing can bring their children back, and truly nothing is going to rectify the just grievous damage because of this horrific action.
Yeah, it was a terrible story, and life moves on in this town, and it will be an event long remembered. Since we're talking about things in the past and historical and so forth, it is Thursday, January 2nd, and what happened on this day in U.S. history, and if you get this, it will be a miracle. However, with the great clues that the quizmaster
Outstanding
will
clues.
be,
The first of which is tell us what year.
in 1997.
Okay.
Well, I think I remember
Something
97.
happened in Tulsa, Oklahoma. What was it?
Was
As
it?
Judge Judy would say, is not an answer.
Well, I'm going to ask for a clue here. Was it legal related?
No.
Court of law, that kind of
No,
thing?
nothing like that.
Okay.
Not sports related either.
Okay.
And it involved one person. And to the best of my knowledge, which is extremely limited, never happened before. And may not have happened since, but at least it
So
didn't happen
was this
before.
some
It was very rare.
some event that might have been written up in the Guinness Book of World Records?
No.
No.
Okay. Well, that goes that.
It involved a woman
She lost
who
an
was
argument to a man.
well, that's not that's not earth breaking.
No,
And she was just walking in the park.
So it wasn't a criminal thing?
No,
No.
no, it was not.
Oh, what did a woman do in a park in Tulsa in 1997 in the middle of the winter?
Yeah.
Yeah, boy, that's a pretty narrow set of.
She
facts
found
there.
something.
No.
Oh. She lost something.
All right, I'll help you out. She got hit.
She was hit by a meteorite.
Yes. Well, not really, but you're right. She was hit by something from space.
Did she get by
Oh,
hit by
a
blue
space
ice?
object.
Yes. It was a 6-inch piece of Delta II rocket as it was returning to Earth from space. It was in early morning, and she noticed a meteor-like flash of light in the sky before the space junk hit her shoulder.
Oh.
Rockets like Delta II were built with lightweight material so they would break apart when entering the Earth's atmosphere. The debris that hit Williams was as light as an aluminum can. Now, they didn't say whether the can was filled or not. But
she survived then.
Yeah, it was like an empty can. She was uninjured. Experts cannot predict exactly where space debris will land when objects to re-enter the atmosphere. But what do they typically do to prevent that?
Well,
they shoot them over the ocean.
Yeah,
one
that
thing.
is
bring
correct.
them down.
That is correct. They
But this was
alter
returning.
a decaying satellite's altitude, so the areas affected are usually over water or deserts, or some people would say deserts.
You know where they, you know where they try to drop, you know what the name of the place is? They try to drop things in the ocean?
A toilet?
No, it's called Point Nemo.
Point Nemo?
Point
really?
Nemo is a point that's equally distanced away from any land.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting stuff. Well, we hope this quiz, which is kind of strayed off of really the area of relative importance. She got hit by an empty can.
Now I'm gonna wander around outside, worried about getting hit by space junk.
Yeah, just worry about getting hit by.
Thanks for adding to my list of paranoias.
Okay. Yeah, yes, if we don't have enough already to worry about. News, weather, sports coming up next on Breakfast with Roger and Friends on WAZU FM 90.7 and 1 from Peoria, Illinois, and also on YouTube. Good to see everybody on YouTube as well. More coming your way. Stay tuned. A pleasant good morning, everybody. Thursday, January 22nd, and we start with a check of the weather presented by Advanced Medical Transport, the provider of emergency and scheduled ambulance services in central, western, and eastern Illinois. More than 500 AMT employees, men and women, dedicated to offering and providing the best in healthcare, saving lives is what they do. And the National Weather Bureau issuing an extreme cold weather warning starting at 3 o'clock tomorrow morning and continuing until noon tomorrow. Today, though, it will be increasing cloudiness and windy, a high of 33. Cloudy and dangerously cold overnight, a low 6 below. Wind chill values that could reach 21 below. Winds gusting to 26 miles per hour. Mike, do you have a wind gauge or a thermometer outside your house to get an idea of how cold it is in your area?
Yeah, I've got a thermometer, but I've been playing with the idea of putting a weather station up, which...
Ooh, that would be neat.
I would like to do that.
We'd call you every morning at 6.
How about let's not and say we did?
Okay, all right. You know, that'd be a great idea. Can you buy packages like that from a hardware store or online?
Yeah.
What does it include? A thermometer.
The thermometer, a barometer,
Anemometer.
anemometer.
A what?
It's called an anemometer. It's that little thing with cups on the end of it that
Yeah.
spins around.
And that determines wind speed, the velocity.
Or it can be a propeller.
You know, that would be fun. You'd have fun with that.
Well, I've got like a telephone pole with like a security light on it that's kind of 15 or it's about 15, 20 yards away from the house, and you know that's one of my I'll get around to it one of these day chores. putting a ladder up against it and climbing to the top and then setting it up there, which should give me like a really accurate wind speed and direction.
Where would you read it then? You
It has
have lines that run into your house
Yeah,
then?
most of them now have like a Wi-Fi remote
Oh, I see,
station,
okay.
and it'll tell you like all the stuff. It'll tell you how much rain has fallen in the last
No
24
kidding,
hours.
that'd be neat.
Yeah. I mean, it's,
Look into that, would you? We'll bump your pay up.
all right.
Okay. Tomorrow, sunny, windy, and very cold, a high of 3. Wind chill values to 24 below. Tomorrow night, cloudy, 3 below. And Saturday, cloudy and cold, a 40% chance for snow, a high of 10. Snow likely Saturday night, low of 5. Sunday, snow, that's when the big battle with the white stuff rolls in, according to Kyle Varner. We're going to talk to him in a few minutes, so stay tuned. The high on Sunday, 15, and ditto for Monday. And right now we are at 18 degrees, and we're at that point where we have the news, and it's brought to you by Sam Lilly and Associates, providing a comprehensive range of insurance products, including personal auto, home life, and medical coverages. He specializes in Medicare plans and options, something he's been doing during his 40 years in the business. Sam knows insurance. You can reach him today at 309-245-4374. With our alert story, here's Mike Dentino.
Thanks, Roger. President Donald Trump was ridiculed and criticized by some European leaders and a number of lawmakers in this country for proposing to make Greenland a part of the United States. Appearing like a political Houdini, Donald Trump did it again, though, announcing what he says is an agreement of a future deal with NATO involving Greenland and the Arctic region. Trump said that if if the framework he brokered is finalized, it'll be great for Greenland, NATO countries, and the United States.
No secret, the president is in Davos, Switzerland for what is called the World Economic Forum. He warned European leaders he would be imposing strong tariffs starting February 1st if no agreement could be reached. The president says Russia and China are seeking military bases in Greenland, which is the world's largest island, covering 836,000 miles, with a population of around 57,000 people.
In this country, another federal officer has been injured by a driver with a criminal record. It happened in Los Angeles, where an illegal immigrant hit the officer with his vehicle and then drove off. William Caballo of El Salvador was captured after a chase. He was wanted for human smuggling and for allegedly beating up his partner not once but twice.
A federal court of appeals has given the Trump administration a win as it reversed a lower court ruling that placed restrictions on how ICE agents can arrest bad guys. Restrictions were imposed by U.S. District Judge Catherine Menendez, who was appointed to her post by President Biden in 2021.
A jury in Uvalde, Texas, has found a police officer not guilty of 29 counts of child abandonment after 7 hours of deliberation. The decision frees school officer Adrian Gonzalez of any responsibility for allegedly failing to confront the gunman who shot and killed 19 students and 2 adults at the Robb Elementary School in 2022.
In Iran, the government has brought in foreign militias to take control of cities where citizens have been rioting. Residents say the militias are from Hezbollah and Iraq, and they use Toyotas armed with automatic weapons to terrorize neighborhoods with random shootings into houses and buildings in the dark of the night. It's estimated there are some 5,000 such military foreigners operating in Iran.
In local news, Peoria County Coroner Jamie Harwood identified the fatal victim from a fire in Chillicothe Tuesday as 62-year-old Michael Broadbeck. Broadbeck was pulled from a house fire in the 16,000 block of North Galena Road and rushed to a local hospital for treatment of smoke inhalation. Efforts to revive Broadbeck were unsuccessful, said Harwood, and other residents of the house were able, however, to safely escape from the burning structure.
Peoria Heights Police asking for the public's help in locating 50-year-old Ariel Fuller. The man walked out of a nursing home on Gardner Lane January 3rd. He hasn't been seen since then. He's described as 6'3", weighs about 195 pounds, wearing a gray stocking cap, gray hoodie, red jacket, and blue sweatpants. Call police if you have any information that can help them locate Ariel Fuller. Their phone number 309-686-3461. The number again, 309-686-3461. Now, more news from WCBU.
From the WCBU Newsroom, I'm Courtney Conroy. Washington residents concerned about the possible installation of a digital billboard at a busy intersection can rest easy. The City Council this week did not vote on a variance request from Robinson Outdoor, effectively killing the Missouri-based company's billboard plan. City Attorney Mark Walton explains why a council vote wasn't needed.
We put it on the agenda just to have a formal record that we're not going to be taking action to approve the ordinance. So it's really more a matter of housekeeping than anything else.
The billboard would have been installed at the Eagle Avenue and Peoria Street intersection. U.S. Senator Dick Durbin says a legitimate investigation into the fatal shooting of Renee Good earlier this month is unlikely. Durbin says the federal government's efforts to block state and local law enforcement from fully investigating the shooting is, quote, proof this is not a credible investigation.
An investigation into the death of an innocent person is not complete or credible unless we reach out and gather every single resource to understand what happened and understand the truth.
Durbin appeared in central Illinois this week as part of Route 66 Centennial Kickoff. Peoria Heights leaders have reached a compromise with developers of the former Save-A-Lot property that will add public parking to the project. Mayor Matt Wigginton says the developers' willingness to cooperate led to the compromise.
I appreciate the developer being willing to essentially donate 15 spots to the village of Peoria Heights for public parking.
The agreement will include a row of angled public parking spaces along the Prospect Road location and 1 lane of parking for residents. And the American Red Cross is issuing a call for donations amid a severe blood shortage, with hospital requests exceeding the available supply. The higher demand has resulted in a 35% drawdown of blood products over the past month. The need is particularly high for platelets, as well as blood types O, A negative, and B negative. Interested donors are encouraged to visit Peoria's Red Cross Donation Center on John Gwynn Jr. Avenue or attend one of Greater Peoria's blood drives scheduled through the end of the month. I'm Courtney Conroy, WCBU News.
All right, Courtney, good job. And now it's time for Sports Dr. Gene Silver, brought to you by BradleyFans.com. Alive with conversation today because the Braves won a big game after, as you said earlier, trailing most of the game. Goodness.
Yeah, most of the game. They did not play well in the early part of the game. We're down at halftime. Bradley ended up with a late comeback to beat a stubborn Indiana State team 75-68 in a game last night at Carver Arena. Bradley improves to 14-7 and 7-3 in the Missouri Valley Conference. They shot poorly throughout the first half and through most of the second half, and finally fell behind by 8 points with about 5 minutes left in the game, but then they scored the last 15 points of the game. Kind of unusual for one team to go on a 15-0 run at the end of the game, but they came from 8 points down to win by that 7-point margin, 75-68. Attendance at the games, 5,327, and braved the cold weather to come out on a Wednesday night. And Bradley's next game is Saturday night game at 7 p.m. at the Carver Arena against University of Illinois Chicago. That game will be on ESPN Plus. Should be a tough game. UIC playing well. They've won their last 5 conference games, including wins over Drake, Northern Iowa, and Illinois State, some of the better teams in the league. So they will not be easy. In other Missouri Valley games last night, Murray State had their 12-game winning streak broken, and they lost their first Missouri Conference game at Drake, 101-90. Illinois State beat Northern Iowa in a low-scoring game, 59-54, and Valparaiso beat Southern Illinois 69-63. The Bradley women are 11-7, 4-3 in the conference. They'll play tomorrow night at home against Valparaiso, 6 p.m. up on campus in the Renaissance Coliseum, and that also on ESPN Plus.
Oh, that and women's games?
Yeah, women's games are all on ESPN Plus. I don't think
you have to buy that, don't you?
Well, it's a subscription Disney package, or I think if you subscribe just by itself, it's $12.99 for the season. If you're a Bradley fan, that's probably worth it because it costs you more than that just to go to one game. You
Yeah,
can
that's
watch
true.
all of them for
Yeah.
the year. Plus, ESPN broadcasts or streams, they call it now, thousands of games, every college game.
When you
Well,
say
not
streaming, you
everyone,
watch it on your computer, or
Yep,
can you watch
yeah.
it on the
it's
smart
it's sent
TV?
digitally through the computer lines and shows up on your laptop or your smart TV.
It will show up
if
on
you've
the
got
smart
that,
TV.
The nifty thing about Xfinity is they've got voice command. All you got to do is push the blue button and say Bradley basketball on ESPN Plus, and it'll pop it
It
right
will.
up. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's kind of nifty.
Now, do they add it to your Comcast bill? Is that how you wind up paying?
Yeah, that's
it?
an extra charge on the well.
$12.99.
No, you pay online at
Oh, you do?
ESPN. Yeah, there's a link on the ESPN website to purchase that, and then you access it through your smart TV. But no, there's not an extra charge for that. No.
Okay.
And Illinois, ranked number 11 in this week's top 25 poll, beat Maryland last night 89-70. They improved to 16-3 overall and 7-1 in the Big Ten. It's quite a logjam at the top of the Big Ten. Nebraska is 8-0, and then there's 4 teams tied at 7-1 right behind them, including Illinois, Michigan, Michigan State, and Purdue. And the Illini play number 4 ranked Purdue Saturday at 2 p.m. over in West Lafayette. That came on the Fox Network. And this weekend, big football weekend in the NFL. AFC and NFC conference finals are Sunday. AFC will feature the New England Patriots at the Denver Broncos at 2 p.m. on Fox. And the NFC championship will be the Los Angeles Rams at the Seattle Seahawks at 5:30 p.m. on Fox also.
Who are you rooting for?
I guess I'd like to see Denver and Seattle, but right now it's looking more like New England is going to probably win that game because the quarterback for Denver broke his ankle, broke his fibula, the small bone in the lower leg, and he is out. Now they've got a pretty good backup named Jarrett Stidham. He rarely plays because he's a backup, but he could give them a good game. So we'll see. I think I saw somewhere where the one game he played, or the last game he played, he was 19 for 20 on completion. So
Are you kidding me?
He's not a bad quarterback.
Wow.
And they could do worse. So, well, we'll see. But they're going up against New England that had the best record in the AFC, and it's amazing how quickly they've bounced back from Tom
After
Brady.
losing Tom Brady, I didn't think they would come back.
And Bill Belichick, yeah, he's gone.
I have a hard time rooting for either one of them. I don't like Seattle because I'll leave it at that. And the coach for Denver, you remember who he used to coach for, and he got penalized, fined?
Yeah, Sean Payton, he was the New Orleans Saints
That's right.
coach, and he had a hit list or
Yeah.
a bounty
If your teammate knocked a player on the other team out of the game, you got a bonus
You
for
got a
it.
bonus check.
And
that
I
actually
don't like that
violated
kind of a
NFL
coach.
rules, so he
Yeah.
was suspended, I think, for a full season.
Well, he should have been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, one last note about baseball. Former Cub free agent Cody Bellinger signed with the New York Yankees. He played for them last year, and prior to that, he played, of course, with the Cubs. He got 5 years at $162.5 million. What's that? About $34 million a year or something like that. And then there were 2 players elected to the 2026 Class Hall of Fame by the Baseball Writers Association, Carlos Beltran and Andrew Jones. They'll join Jeff Kent, who was elected by the Contemporary Baseball Era Committee, that used to be called the Veterans Committee, back in December. So those 3 will get inducted into the Hall of Fame this coming July I think during the All-Star break or sometime later in the season. And that's it for sports, Roger.
And that's it for sports on Breakfast with Roger and Friends on WACU FM 90.7 and also on YouTube. Well, I wanted to spend a little time this morning talking about vitamin D. I don't know if you follow Dr. Mark Siegel, but he's usually on Fox, and he seems to be pretty knowledgeable and authentic and so
Very
forth.
much, yeah.
And he was praising, along with some other person, I don't recall whether it was a doctor, nutrition, or what, the importance of vitamin D. What are your thoughts? This is supposed to be the sunshine vitamin.
Called the sunshine vitamin because it is activated into its active form by exposure to sunlight as it passes through the capillaries in the surface of our body. And people don't get as much sunshine as they used to, believe it or not. It varies depending on what part of the country you're in, but overall, people just don't go outside as much as they used to. And then you add to that the fact that the main sources of vitamin D in our diet are fish oils, red meat, egg yolks, and I think there's a trend that, well, of course, in the Midwest we don't eat fish as much as people in the coastal areas do. And secondly, I think people, have been told that red meat is bad for you, egg yolks are bad for you, and so there are a lot of people who shy away from eating too much of those. And as a whole, I think there are more people now who run low on their blood vitamin D levels than they ever used to be. And low vitamin D is known to lead to a whole host of things, muscular problems, weakness in the muscles, even maybe memory and neurological side effects, and it can have a negative effect on our immune system. And that leads to this story that's in the news, and you were probably going to bring that up, Roger, that there is a story in the news about a study that came out in England. They studied, England, because they have a nationalized health system, they keep very detailed records on everybody, and they're all in one place. Literally everybody in the entire United Kingdom is covered by the national health system there, and all their records are kept in the NHS system. And so it's not hard to do these kinds of back-looking surveys, and they looked at 36,000 people and categorized them as either low or normal or high levels of serum vitamin D. Now, vitamin D is not always found in the bloodstream, so that's one potential fault of this study, is that it's only looking at serum levels, not at the levels in our tissues, the brain, the liver, the kidneys, the muscles, and so forth. That could differ. And secondly, there's no proof that there's a cause and effect here. And I always like to bring that up because that's really important when you look at these studies. What they found was the people that had distinctly low levels of vitamin D were 33% more likely to be hospitalized with respiratory viral illnesses. Now, to be hospitalized with the flu or a virus that affects you in your respiratory system, it's got to be pretty severe, right? I mean, we've all had colds, we've all had it in our lungs. We don't go to the hospital usually. We don't end up hospitalized. So to be hospitalized, it intentionally points to it being a severe infection. And to have 33% higher, that's a substantial difference. And so they looked at that, and the end result was that it seems to be associated with maybe a greater susceptibility to these more serious types of respiratory infections. Whether it is the cause of it or not, again, that we don't know, because people who are low on vitamin D may also be low on other things too, because they don't eat well or they have chronic illness or other things. So that's why you need more study to really look and see if it is the actual cause or contributing cause, or maybe it's something else altogether and this just happens to be a red herring. But it is pretty interesting. I mean, it's pretty substantial finding that needs more investigation.
Do you think, I happen to know a guy that does weather on our station who's under the weather. Is it because he was possibly low of vitamin D?
I would certainly recommend that all Americans should get a vitamin D supplement. Now, I didn't used to recommend that, but from everything the incidence of Alzheimer's is thought to be higher in people with low vitamin D. Heart disease is more prevalent in people with low vitamin D. And now we find that possibly respiratory infections, viral type infections, are significantly increased in people with low vitamin D. Again, whether it's the cause and effect, we don't know for sure. But a vitamin D supplement, they're very inexpensive.
A little tiny
little clear capsule thing.
Yeah. It's hard to believe that has
and even a multiple vitamin has a little bit of vitamin D in it, so that's good. I think everybody should take vitamin D.
What do you think, Kyle?
Well, I have this red light thing. Is that kind of a substitute? Sorry. To call in here.
I don't know about that, Rick.
Like a red light. It's a red light box.
I know, and it makes all kinds of wonderful claims, and none of them are proven.
Yeah.
But I believe in psychosomatic healing, and if you think something is going to work, chances are the power of suggestion is so great that it probably will work. but we want you to get better.
Nice.
What?
That's very kind. That's very kind. It sure feels nice. I will say that.
Yeah.
When you turn the box
So
on,
there
you only do
you
it for
go.
about 15
There you
minutes,
go.
but
Yeah.
it feels nice on the face,
Yeah.
like the sunshine on your face type thing. So.
Amen to that. Now,
All right,
do you
anyway.
feel better about what the weather's going to be after your
No.
earlier report? Still bad.
No, I feel terrible about what the weather's going to be. I feel terrible in general about how nasty of weather we have coming for the next, next probably 8-9 days. I mean, we're in this until February. I mean, I'm serious about that. We talked about it at 6:50, but Mother Nature's, it's we're paying the piper here. We're going to get really, really cold, dangerous cold. And I was trying to stress what the temperature is now. 24 hours from now, subtract 30 degrees from it. That's what it's going to be
you're
like.
kidding.
It's dangerous.
Oh, wow.
Dangerous cold. Yeah, I mean, there's extreme cold warning that went into effect, or goes into effect at 3 a.m. tomorrow. So basically what it's saying is imminent frostbite, possible life-threatening situation. If you're exposed out in it for a matter of minutes, and that goes for pets too, keeps the pets inside, but just in general, you're at a high risk tomorrow between 3 a.m. and noon is what the Weather Service believes for our area. I would say all day because the wind chill is not going to get above 20 below zero tomorrow. Maybe 15 in the evening below zero, but I mean, yeah, it's going to be very, very, very cold. You're going to walk outside and you're going to instantly feel your nostrils freeze up. It's just that cold
bad
tomorrow. Yes. It's this tentacle, it's this offshoot of essentially air from the Arctic Circle. This is like what a couple years ago, or 5 years ago, they called it the polar vortex, and everyone made a big deal out of it. That's what this is. This is the polar vortex. This is cold Arctic air settling in a deep trough, coming across the northeast Iowa, southern Wisconsin, northern Illinois, southern Michigan, and then going back up to Ontario. Yesterday, I called it a Manitoba Mauler, because it's coming out of Manitoba. Is the direction of where it's from. Just like Alberta Clipper, everything's Canadian-oriented. We have to match up our meteorological mayhem with provinces of Canada. So the Manitoba Mauler is coming in. It's going to be very, 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 very cold, and I can't emphasize that enough. Hence extreme cold warnings in play. And, if you can avoid going out tomorrow, please do so. And then we get, even on Saturday, it'll still feel like zero or below zero with the wind chills because it's so cold. And then we have the next system, which is this big winter storm, huge winter storm, that's moving across the southern United States, and it's going to ride up the Ohio River valleys, what the trends are showing now. The Euro this morning, we talked briefly about it at the 6:50 a.m. hour, but I feel a little bit better than then when we first called. No, the storm track is trending further north. We're still 3 days out. We'll have to wait and see what comes of it. But right now, they're saying 2 to 4 inches, but it's going to be a drier air mass on the backside with us. So when I factor in the Kuchera method, I'd say 5 to 7 inches, probably likely, with that dry, fluffy snow.
I think tomorrow the plan is going to be at our household to sleep in till about noon.
Yeah, sleep in, stay inside, turn on the water, let the little water trickle so your pipes don't freeze, get that water running, and for God's sake, keep pets inside. Yes, sir, go ahead, Dr. Sidler. So sorry.
Do you pay any attention to those names that the Weather Channel gives these winter storms? Because I had to look it up. I hadn't seen it anywhere. It seems like less and less people are paying any attention to them. This is Winter Storm Fern. It's coming.
Fern.
They're putting out these warnings all the way down into the deep south. And I saw a story yesterday about how people in Texas are cleaning out the store shelves because they're afraid that they're going to get trapped in their homes for a week. They are not used to this down in Atlanta and Mississippi and middle Texas. So
they're going to be people frozen to the sidewalk in Dallas, I think.
Yeah, and 7 months from now we'll fry an egg on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
Kyle, are we going to get snippets of snow between now and when the big snowfall arrives? I guess in Sunday you're talking about.
No, I don't see that happening. I see. I know they talked about snow tomorrow. or not tomorrow, but Saturday.
Yeah.
There might be a chance of snow Saturday morning. I think the dry air stays in place and keeps that snow to the southwest of us. That's just based off my expertise. I think we won't see the snowfall until late Saturday night and then into Sunday morning and Sunday midday. It will come in the form of waves. The strongest wave will probably be the one overnight Saturday night and the Sunday morning. Do we get 3? Do we get 4 inches out of that? And then a couple inches after that. And the secondary waves come through in the midday hours and the early afternoon hours on the backside of this massive winter storm Fern, as the Weather Channel calls it. But, just the gloom and doomers had to come with the name. Although Fern does not instill fear in anyone. But I don't know. Is it F-E-R-N?
Yes. Again, I had to look that up because I had not heard it, but it's from the Weather Channel that the storm coming has been named Winter Storm Fern.
Fern. You know anybody by the name of Fern?
Well,
I have a client named Fern, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, it was not an uncommon name back in the early 1900s.
Yeah.
All right.
It's a woman. It's a woman.
A woman's
yes.
name, yeah.
Okay. I have. Well, you don't know that. Also, let me.
You're assuming gender.
Yeah.
Sorry, I do. She's a client.
Yes. Oh no, I was talking about somebody else. Anyway,
sorry.
I want you to help Mike Dentino out. He's thinking about developing a weather station in Marshall County, and Mike, tell him what you want to do.
Well, my thought was get one of these little electronic weather reporting stations and putting it at the top of we have like a telephone pole with a security light on it, but it's about 15 or 20 yards away from the house, kind of in its own little airflow. But yeah, all I got to do is climb a 30-foot ladder.
Well, you don't have to put it up high though, do you?
Well, I mean, if you want it to be accurate.
For the wind.
Accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have a particular kit that you would recommend? And maybe that's something business, another side business. I mean, you're in the insurance business.
I don't
you
have
have the
business
casino, and thought maybe you could start selling weather stations.
No. Although the games this weekend look good. Lacrosse Technology. They have the best weather instruments, weather tools. So if you buy something, buy Lacrosse.
Okay, I'll look for that.
Write that name down. I might buy one too. What kind of a price range are we talking about?
Well, what Mr. Dentino wants is about $300 because it has an animal
I'm
and a
looking for
hydrometer
one
and all that.
Amazon has them from anywhere from $99 to $300. Yeah, these little home weather stations. Yeah.
Are those Lacrosse? What brand are they?
They don't. Most of them don't give a brand name. They're Chinese made.
Yes, that's why.
No. You want American made. You want Lacrosse.
Yeah, I don't want to know the Chinese weather.
Yeah.
Exactly. No, the U.S. thing, God knows, it probably reports back to China.
And they probably got cameras to spy on you and your wife.
Yeah.
So you have to be careful of that. All right.
But hang on, real quick. No. Before hang on.
Yeah.
Before we go, what happened to the bee business? Are you going into the weather business now? What happened to your bee business?
Well, I mean, it's winter. I mean, the bees have they've shut themselves down.
Yes.
Especially at 20 below zero. They're not going nowhere.
Rightfully so. Good.
Well,
you're still in the bee business.
The other subject, what's the betting line for the NFL playoff games this weekend?
Oh, it's a great question, Roger. Let me pull up the phone here and pull up my FanDuel app because I should have had that ready. And I was expecting to talk weather and medication and weather stations and bees and all that. Let's pull up the FanDuel. Where are we at here?
The bees and the hummingbirds.
That's okay. So anyways, great games. Don't be surprised if there's an upset. Don't be surprised if it's Los Angeles over Seattle. I think if any team has a chance to beat Seattle, it is the Los Angeles Rams. The Denver-New England game, no offense to Denver, but without Bo Nix, I just don't think they have a chance, especially coming in with a new quarterback. Now, Sean Payton's a great coach, so if he is able to pull it off, it's just further proof of how amazing of a coach he is to get a new quarterback in within a week's time into the NFC Championship game. And we didn't see it, with Nick Foles. Don't forget that we did see it happen. So, where is the line? Sorry. I apologize.
No, that's all right.
All right. So the line is 2.5 to Seattle.
2.5 and 5.5.
You have 2.5, 5.5. The over-under is 46.5. Give me the over all day on this game. So I like the over. And then, 5.5 on the, good job on the Broncos-Patriots game.
Mm-hmm.
And with that one, oh gosh, Denver's defense is really good. Yeah, give me
It's
Patriots.
at Denver, and the weather could be a factor.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Give me the Patriots, but give me the under on it. Excuse me. So yeah, but no, they're two great football games. Again, I told you yesterday. Sometimes the NFC, AFC championship games are far more entertaining and enthralling than the Super Bowl itself.
Mm-hmm.
So enjoy that Sunday of football.
Yeah.
As we stay inside and stay out of the cold and stay out of the snow, which will be happening on Sunday. There's no question about it. How much we get. Tune in tomorrow. Hopefully my voice is a little bit better. Have you decided yet? Are you going to be doing a call?
No, I have to go in to have a seance and try to figure out whether or not to do it from my home versus driving in the severe cold from Morton to Peoria.
If
I'm
if you're
thinking
still
about
able
it.
to do it, No, if you're still able to do it from home, I would recommend doing that.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about too. I mean, I'm no spring chicken, and this weather is. But I also rely on the medical advisory board, which Dr. Sidler is chairman and
sole member.
Sole member, yeah.
But he's also taking a vacation.
Yes,
So.
and he's headed to Florida, so that ought to tell you what he thinks. Anyway, get well.
For Florida.
Yeah, we're headed
Tracy,
to.
when do you leave for Florida?
We're leaving Sunday, so right about when the snow hits.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Out of Peoria or out of Chicago?
Out of Peoria. I think it's an early enough flight.
I have talked to officials at Allegiant. They are planning to put skis on their plane to take off from the Peoria airport. So
and they are issuing parachutes to everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're going to.
All right.
I was just going to say it's going from Peoria to McMurdo Station and then to Fort Myers.
There you go. Well, get well and drink plenty of liquids.
That's the plan, sir. You guys take care. Thanks so much again. As always, stay safe, stay warm. Keep those pets inside overnight tonight and tomorrow.
Good advice. Thanks, Kyle. Mm-hmm. Kyle Barnold, Mr. Weather, and let's check out the weather and the news as we continue on WACU. And we start with the news with Mike Dentino, brought to you by Realtor Kathy Reynolds of Home Smart. Kathy, available to help you buy or sell your next home. Always available to chat with you, and you can reach Kathy today at 309-696-2162. With the headlines, here's Michael.
Thanks, Roger. President Donald Trump was criticized by some European leaders and a number of lawmakers in this country for proposing to make Greenland a part of the United States. Despite the naysayers, though, Donald Trump did it again, announcing what he says is agreement of a future deal with NATO involving Greenland and the Arctic region. Trump says that if the framework he brokered is finalized, it'll be great for Greenland, NATO countries, and the United States. Trump had warned European leaders he would be imposing strong tariffs starting February 1st if no agreement could be reached. The president says Russia and China are seeking military bases in Greenland, which is the world's largest island, covering more than 836,000 square miles and with a population of around 57,000 people. While in this country, another federal officer has been injured by a driver with a criminal record. It happened in Los Angeles, where an illegal immigrant hit the officer with his vehicle and then drove off. William Carballo of El Salvador was captured after a chase. He was wanted for human smuggling and for allegedly beating up his partner, not once, but twice. A federal court of appeals has given the Trump administration a win as it reversed a lower court ruling that placed restrictions on how ICE agents can arrest bad guys. Restrictions were imposed by U.S. District Judge Catherine Menendez, a Democrat, appointed by President Joe Biden in 2021. And a jury in Uvalde, Texas, has found a police officer not guilty of 29 counts of child abandonment after 7 hours of deliberation. The decision frees school officials or school officer Adrian Gonzalez of any responsibility for allegedly failing to confront the gunman who shot and killed 19 students and 2 adults at the Robb Elementary School in 2022. In local news, Peoria County Coroner Jamie Harwood identified the fatal victim from a fire in Chillicothe Tuesday as 62-year-old Michael Brodbeck. Brodbeck was pulled from a house fire in the 16,000 block of North Old Galena Road and rushed to a local hospital for treatment of smoke inhalation. Efforts to revive Broderick, however, were unsuccessful, said Harwood. Other residents of the house were able to safely escape from the burning structure. Peoria Heights police are asking for your help in locating 50-year-old Ario Fuller. The man walked out of a nursing home on Gardner Lane on January 3rd and hasn't been seen since then. He's described as 6'3", weighing around 195 pounds, wearing a gray stocking cap, gray hoodie, red jacket, and blue sweatpants. Call the police at 309-686-3461 if you've seen Fuller. And in sports, Bradley defeated Indiana State at the Civic Center last night, 75-68, and Illinois whipped Maryland in Champaign, 89-70. Details on the game and more sports news with Dr. Gene Sidler coming up at the top of the hour.
Well, since we aren't going to be here at the top of the hour,
I guess that's.
but we'll sit around.
For the
we'll listen
crowd
just,
here,
just for the two of us.
yeah.
Well, we're still on YouTube, so we could do that. Yes.
I think they'd rather hear something other than that.
All right. Let's get in with the weather, and we've been certainly giving you live reports with meteorologist Kyle Varnold this morning. Specifically, our weather at the bottom of the hour, somewhat, and then some, brought to you by Spoon River Home Health. They're making a difference in the lives of their clients, and they've been around helping them since 1993 with a comprehensive range of home health care services, anything from skilled nursing to bathing and personal care. You name it, they provide it. Your choice matters at Spoon River Home Health. Their phone number 309-245-0723. Well, the National Weather Bureau has issued an extreme cold weather warning that will begin 3 o'clock tomorrow morning until noon tomorrow, and be aware of some very dangerous conditions. Today, though, it'll be cloudy and windy, 33 the high, but tonight a different story. Overnight low of 6 below with wind chill values reaching as much as 21 below. You just don't want to be out tonight. And tomorrow's questionable as well. Sunny, windy, and very cold, a high of 3. Wind chill values 24 below. Tomorrow night cloudy and 3 below. Saturday cloudy and cold, 40% chance for snow. Kyle was kind of iffy on that. He said a high of 10. And possible snow Saturday night with a low of 5. The big snowfall coming on Sunday, 4 to 6, 5 to 7 inches, you name it. 15 the high, Monday sunny and 15. And the last time we checked, our temperature was at 19 degrees. And there you have a check of the news and the weather at the bottom of the hour, and then some, because it is 8:42. You know, I did want to mention at the end of your sportscast, but we ran out of time. Do you remember, and do you know if the situations are the same in the basketball rivalry between Illinois and Indiana? You remember when Bobby Knight just openly showed his disdain for the coach, the basketball coach for the University of Illinois, Lou Henson, yeah.
Yes.
And do you think that was very personal, unfortunately? And as everybody knows, Bobby Knight was somewhat of a nutcase. He knew basketball, but he had a terrible temper. And, he threw a chair at one of his players. He choked one of his players.
The chair was thrown across the court at the referee.
At a referee, yeah. And he did choke one of his players.
He did in practice, and it was caught on film, and that led to his firing.
Yeah, as well as it should. But he was openly hostile to Lou. And Lou was just a super nice guy. I mean,
to Bobby's credit, when Lou died, he had some of the nicest things to say about Lou Henson.
I did not know that.
Yeah, he did, and so I think it was more in the spirit of his competitiveness that he took shots at Lou Henson.
But coaches normally don't do that to each other, do they?
No. Basically, Bobby Knight is the guy you compare people to when you think a coach is a real jerk.
Well, the two coaches that come to mind when you think, jerk would be, Bobby Knight and then Woody Hayes.
Oh, football coach.
For football.
Similar personality.
Yeah.
They were so used to winning that if they didn't win, that had to be because somebody either screwed up or was cheating.
Yeah.
It wasn't their fault.
I know Bobby Knight, and this has been documented, took the course on how to win friends and influence people from Dale Carnegie, and at graduation he punched Dale Carnegie in the mouth.
I'm not sure that rumor has been proven, Roger.
Okay.
Yeah,
I love spreading it.
I'm kind of guessing that would indicate he failed the course.
Maybe.
No, he just didn't attend. I think that was it. Well, back to my original question. There's not that deep rivalry as much today.
No, there was a little bit of that back with Dick Versace at Bradley and Bob Donewald at ISU. And Bob Donewald had been an assistant under Bobby Knight, so he had some of the same personality traits that Bobby Knight did. He could be very nasty. There was an episode where just prior to a game that Bradley was going to be playing over at ISU, there was a press conference, I think the day before, held by Bob Donewald, and one of the WMBD TV cameramen went over to get some video of it. He happened to have a Bradley shirt on, and Bob Donewald kicked him out of the room.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Was he that bad?
Oh, he was. He was a jerk.
Nasty.
And I think he felt an inferiority complex because Dick Versace kind of owned him. Bradley pretty much dominated Illinois State back in the 1980s. With, of course, Bradley had Jim Les, Hersey Hawkins, and that whole group of studs all through the middle 80s that was outstanding. Some of Bradley's best teams in their history, and ISU were good, but they were not that good.
They played second fiddle. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, and I think you're right. I think Donewald resented the success of Bradley.
And I think that's why he allowed and even encouraged their fans, their cheerleaders, and everybody to do some of the really nasty things they did.
They're the worst in the Valley.
They threw things at the coaches and the players. They threw things at the fans. We stopped going after a while because we were pelted with food and empty drink cups and stuff like that, just because we were Bradley fans and cheering for our team. And I think I mentioned that the cheerleaders actually led cheers for their fans of
obscenities.
F. Versace, and Versace is a D-I-C-K, and some of the most nasty things. And again, this was sanctioned by the coach and by their athletic director, which just drops a little below the level of proper behavior.
Yeah, that's just sad.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say, that level of boorishness is what's kind of brought sports down to the level that it has right now. Not every game, not every team, but there are just too many people that are too I don't know. I mean, it's just the boorishness of it. You can be competitive. I don't root for a lot of teams. I have my few that I just really like, but I like watching sports. okay? Not, I can't hold a candle to my wife. I mean, she
knows sports.
24.
doesn't she?
Yeah, she can tell you, what games on what channel, all 7 days a week. And she gets very, very involved. Like watching a game with her can become very unpleasant because she's, number one, half the sports I watch, I only understand a third of the fouls. And no, my wife can call a basketball game from 3 states away. And she gets very upset when her team is getting the raw end of the deal from the refs or whatever. And, it's like, okay, I just want to watch the game and enjoy. I'll enjoy like 7 or 8 plays, and I tend to shine on, the bad officiating, but she gets very, very unhappy about it. It sometimes that level of intensity can make a game unpleasant to watch.
Yeah. How many TV sets have you had to replace?
Well, I brought my wife some rubber bricks.
Okay, that just bounce off the screen. Yeah.
She's going to throw something. Just make sure it's something soft.
Yeah, and just as long as it isn't you.
Yeah, well,
she's throwing.
Fortunately, I'm fat enough she can't throw.
Yeah, you can pick it up. Well, let's talk about our pet tip of the day, if you don't mind.
Today's pet tip is brought to you by Peoria Pet Crematory of Peoria and Lewiston, providing final care for family pets, large and small, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Their phone number is 713-1898. That's 713-1898. More information is available at peoriapetcrematory.com.
Pet lovers are dedicated to their animals, all species from horses to turtles and of course cats and dogs. If you are a pet lover, learn these little-known, somewhat amazing facts about your pet. Caring for our pets is just like caring for children. We need to remember their treatments and appointments and keep them current. Sometimes, with all that's going on in our lives, this can be difficult. I suggest you use a family calendar that you write your pet's needs right along with your family's appointments. If you use the calendar on your smartphone, tablet, or other electronic device, just key in the things you need to remember and have it beep you when a task is due. It's easy to remember to feed, water, and walk a pet, but when was the last time you bathed your dog, clipped their nails, or gave them their monthly flea treatment? Today's flea treatments are designed to work in such a way that we need only apply the treatment once a month. But it has to be done regularly and consistently to be effective. Monthly also makes it easy to forget. Bathing, depending on the breed, should be done once a month as well. Nails should be clipped every 2 weeks, and dental cleaning should be done yearly, the same as vaccinations. If we know we have something coming due, it's easier to fit it into our schedules rather than scrambling at the last minute to update vaccinations or paying more to bring an animal current on their treatments. Dental cleanings is one of those treatments that, if missed, can cause you more expense. Plaque left untreated causes heart disease. So make use of whatever device you have and add your pet's needs to your calendar. This whisker of information has been made possible by a grant from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting in partnership with Spot, Saving Pets One at a Time, and KSBR Studios. Produced by Joseph C. McGuire and theme music by Stuardo Glasser.
Today's pet tip has been brought to you by Peoria Pet Crematory of Peoria and Lewiston, providing final care for family pets, large and small, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Their phone number is 713-1898. That's 713-1898. More information is available at peoriapetcrematory.com.
Well, thank you, Louis Linder, for the pet tip, and of course, we were forewarned by Kyle and all of us. If you have pets, make sure they don't wander away from your house or your backyard. And did you say you have, I know, Gene, you don't have pets anymore, but you do, don't you? Yeah. Yeah. What are they? How old are they?
They're like 4, and one's a blue heeler or a red heeler mix. The other one's supposed to be a beagle, but it's more Doberman than beagle.
That's
I
an
think
interesting mix.
Tomorrow, I think they're going to be whining at the door. They're going to go out. They're going to go, "Oh, what was I thinking?" and come right back in.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. I know I open the door to my dog when he wants to go outside. I've got a leash that I put on him. He goes by the door. That's the signal, like most humans who hang around men's rooms when they have issues. And when I opened the door to get the leash, he backed up like, "Whoa, I'm not going outside, pal." And get your party pads on the floor, because no way I'm going to expose myself in this kind of weather. And it was a big rush of wind, and that's what makes it even. And I also take issue with wind chill values. Didn't we used to, announcers on the radio used to say, you don't hear it anymore, it's going to feel like, well, maybe to you, pal, but not to me. I have thin skin when it comes to weather conditions. How about the two of you?
Yeah. I think the wind chill factors are used by the weather broadcasters just to, more of the gloom and doom fear factor kind of
that's true, too.
effect, because it sounds a lot worse when you use that as opposed to the real temperature.
Well, yeah, I mean, like where we're at, what I expect by the end of the weekend, I'm probably going to be able to almost drive across the river on the ice. Because it's already pretty
I wouldn't
frozen.
try that.
Is it really?
Yeah. I mean, there's still barge traffic.
Yeah.
But I'll bet, like, right now, 300 or 400 yards from the edge of my shore going out towards the channel is probably 2 to 3 inches thick already.
Oh, it is.
It's not real wide where you are, I don't think. Is it?
No, it's fairly wide.
Is it still?
Yeah.
Okay. I know at the bridge it's very wide. I just didn't know it extended that far up north. How far across would you guess that it is? Half a mile or so?
Yeah. Oh, it's easily half a mile. See, because where I'm at, there's the channel, which is kind of, I can see the channel on the far shore, but we're at the mouth of a pretty large slough. So, you've got the slough and then the channel beyond that, the slough is it's very shallow, so you don't get a lot of water movement like you do in the channel.
What is slough backwater? Is that what you're calling
like a backwater.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's almost, 2 or 3 times the normal width, and maybe even a little more than. And since it's so shallow, there's not a lot of water movement, so it's going to freeze really pretty well.
Yeah. Yes.
Reg, I have an interesting sports story.
It's short.
I can keep it short. The quarterback for Miami, Carson Beck, he also played 4 seasons at Georgia and then got a 5th season and played it at Miami. He was a very good player. He'll probably get drafted. But he's graduating. He's finishing his eligibility. So there's a pretty good quarterback that played at Duke this year. It led them to their first championship, outright championship since 1962 in the ACC. So, I mean, they have been the weaklings of the ACC.
Illinois beat them, didn't they?
Illinois and Duke, I don't remember.
I think Illinois went to
But
their
anyway,
field
they had a
game.
very good quarterback, had a great season. He announced in December that he was coming back for another year rather than entering the NFL draft. He would probably be a first-round draft pick. And he signed a NIL contract for $4 million to play in 2026. Well, he just reneged on that contract and is going to go sign with Miami, which means that Miami's offering probably much more than $4 million. And Duke has decided to sue him. So this is going to be a sort of a landmark case for this NIL stuff.
I love that. I love
They
the sound of
now
that.
have these players actually sign a contract. So it now becomes more than the NCAA that you're arguing with. This is contract law.
Yeah.
You know
Very
about
clearly.
that more than I do. They could hold this guy to this contract, meaning that he will have to play another year at Duke before they let him out of it. and at that 4 million, poor guy.
Yeah.
But at least this is sort of a landmark case in this NIL, which is all new in college
new territory,
landscape.
isn't it?
Yeah.
All right.
I mean,
well, good information. Well, we've got to get out of here with a reminder, take care of yourself, and we'll be on tomorrow. Where we will be is anybody's guess. In the meantime, have a great day. Stay warm. Remember, God loves you, and so do we. And Elvis is in the house. Elvis, you're looking good, pal.
And a promise of tomorrow in her eyes. I just can't help believing when she's lying close beside me, and my heart beats with the rhythm of her sighs. This time the girl is gonna stay. This time the girl is gonna stay for more than just a day. Well, I just can't help believing when she slips her hand in my hand, and it feels so small and helpless, and my fingers fold around it like a glove. But I just can't help believing when she's whispering her magic, and her tears are shining honey sweet with love. This time the girl is gonna stay. This time the girl is gonna stay. This time the girl is gonna stay for more than just a day.